और सर कैसे हैं? हाउ आर यू आफ्टर अ लॉन्ग टाइम?
थिंग्स आर गुड। बहुत चीजें एक साल में तो काफी कुछ बदल गया है, आई मस्ट से। It's been a year since I decided to kind of take a step back and not be so visible. So I just
ओके.
realized it today. It's been almost a year. So maybe it's good. Sometimes you just need to step back, pause, and see the things as they are developing. And
करेक्ट.
उससे मतलब आसान हो जाता है ना समझना कि what's the paradigm that's emerging.
या.
Paradigms are very important in today's time. Na?
करेक्ट.
Everybody has a paradigm, whether it's yours or somebody else's, but it
हम्म.
helps you to understand the world better.
हम्म. True that. I think a lot gets forgotten when you are in constant social media chatter. Because now what I see is that it has become sort of, I don't know. I mean, people are venting out their frustration. I mean, they have found a way to vent out their frustration. Okay, and not only in India, I think all over the world, this is sort of happening. Yeah.
Agree.
Uh, no,
Mm.
and it is very important that sometimes you take a step back, which I'm actually finding a lot of difficult because because I don't know. I like to be like sort of engaged with the chatter. It sort of tickles my interest in these kind of issues. Political and social issues, mostly political, actually. So like let me start this conversation with one very interesting question. Okay. uh, do you think that post 2014, BJP sort of became a pole in Indian politics? Okay. First pole, I would say. And now it is 2026. So do you think that BJP has peaked now, or do you think it otherwise? Like, do you think that this is sort will remain for more years to come, and there may be less, or more majority of the seats which they may win in upcoming elections, but they will remain a poll. What is your analysis currently as to the current climate in our country, as given the politics which is happening?
Well, that's a fascinating question to ask these days. A lot of people think that the Lok Sabha election was an aberration in every sense, given how the
Hmm.
state assembly results have turned out. But if you look
Hmm.
very closely, the state assembly elections since 2024, and there have been quite a few, I think. Haryana was a classic example, Delhi was another example. Or even if you look at Bengal now, Assam has been. Assam is a story of the Northeast, where the Northeastern states try to stay in line with the national majority. So, I mean, the political climate is slightly different there. But by and large, when you look at the Indo-Gangetic states, or you look at even the southern states to a large extent, the vote is very, I would say, the vote is one of exhaustion. People are tired. BJP is a pole. Nobody can deny that. But what does being a pole mean is the question I think nobody wants to answer fairly these days. That's how I feel about
Interesting. So, in that sense, do you think that as a poll, like this is my understanding, जो आप मतलब बोल रहे हो कि भाई पोल होना होता क्या है,
it. Exactly.
what responsibility it puts on a political party, which is sort of become a poll in a whole scenario, and all other parties are sort of मतलब वो ट्राई कर रहे हैं कि कैसे ना कैसे करके हम वो पोल
बिल्कुल,
बने. ठीक है.
बिल्कुल.
So in that sense, do you think that they have some, as you said, I mean, they have a responsibility, but what kind of responsibility do you think that they have, and which they should fulfill, being a poll, or which BJP has done or not?
Okay. I mean, that's again, I think it's an important point to discuss because electoral victory sans any responsibility is anathema to any democratic setup in the world. You have been voted into power because there is a certain responsibility that you have to undertake in terms of your action, in terms of your policies. Now, here's the thing: BJP by itself, probably at a 240 mark, is the lowest it will be, say, for the next 15 to 20 years for sure. I will not take an upper umbrella. The upper umbrella being the upper number, the upper range number, for me would be a question mark, or rather driven by how badly the opposition decides to shoot itself in the foot over the next 15-year period every day. And by shooting in the foot, let's be very clear about what we mean. In the last 12 years, what the BJP has managed to achieve is, from an electoral perspective, tremendous. It has ended up, barring some aberrations here and there, broadly created what everybody now, or I mean, one of the very famous psephologists on X, who's less visible these days. I will not take his name, but otherwise the chances of these days people filing random lawsuits everywhere. But the term of united spectrum of Hindu votes, I think
Hmm.
even a 240 is the number ideally that represents that. It's
Yeah.
a it's a number going interestingly that the Congress had come very close to in its second UPA term as a by itself, if you recall. The second UPA term Congress was around 220 odd, and the rest of the
Right.
alliance partners came to and basically helped from the government.
Yeah.
BJP is not very far from it if you think about it very carefully, and you had nearly the same vote numbers. So clearly, this is for now one can say the lowest the BJP will go. They have managed to consolidate a few. I wouldn't say vote banks. I don't like the term vote bank because it's never the case that one community is just blindly, sir, आँख बंद करके everybody is just voting in one direction. That's not the case. Usually, it's a 50 to 60% vote from a community that goes in one direction or the other. You will always have people who will vote for the other parties also.
Correct. Correct. That is true.
But when you say that, so that is the so BJP's base is there. We know, so that is why it is the poll. The opposition basically has been a very, how to say, negative trendsetter in India's politics in the last 7 years at least, how I've seen. I would not say the whole 12 years, but at least the last 7 to 8 years, they've been a very negative force in every sense. See, barring all the allegations of people being involved with outside agencies, etc., I don't want to get into that. I mean, I will not say that there is not merit to some of the allegations, but that distracts attention from some very important facts that are actually on the ground in India right now. And those important facts are: one, that they have had a very negative polity being practiced in India for a very long time. Second, it was kosher for them to be, getting away by, how do I say, undermining the wisdom of the voter in general.
Hmm. Right.
And third, the third problem that I see is that they thought that they were invincible because they had brought together two or three broad coalitions of voters for themselves. So they did not think of, one, out reaching out to other communities necessarily, or two, having a plan or a vision for a generation that is highly aspirational in nature. Now, BJP and NDA has have several shortcomings, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
are many things
Definitely.
about it, and we can discuss those things till the cows come home. Let's be very clear.
Yeah.
Latest fiasco being the really bad way in which the whole CBSE exam mark sheet or the NEET exam leak has been handled. Very classic case of, this old adage that say that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Classic case of that happening in these two cases.
Correct. Correct. And what's the? I think not many people get this. If you're a keen observer of the
Hmm.
politics of the Indian politics, and especially the current politics which is committed by our prime minister, he's a sharp political man. One has to give it to him. Okay.
Undoubtedly.
You will see that he never bows down to this kind of pressure. When people ask for resignation of a particular minister, if there is some disaster which happens in their key ministries, okay,
Of
or the
course,
ministry they are handling.
of
I
course.
mean, there is, and you have seen this with with the Ministry of Railway.
Hmm.
Okay, you are seeing this with Ministry of Roads and Transport.
Of
Okay,
course, of course.
and now the Education Ministry is in trap. But the interesting question is this. You know, I mean, he never sort of, you know, I feel that his decision of not sacking a particular minister is a right one, because first, if you remove that minister, you get some other person, for example, okay, will that particular person gonna work for arriving at the
Hmm.
solution? Okay, will it be helpful in the overall scenario?
Of
Okay,
course.
or the better would be, okay, fine, I am a prime minister, I have a stick in my hand, and I will
Hmm.
use my stick to whip up my minister and ask him,
Of course.
look boss, this is not done,
Of
you have
course.
made this mistake, now it is your
Hmm.
responsibility to make this mess right.
Hmm.
Okay. And also I've heard this theory, many people have said to me that, I mean, the serious political analysts have said that current prime minister consider, if he sacks a particular minister due to public or political pressure, then he considers it as a political defeat to him,
Hmm.
which he don't
Hmm.
want to give to his opponents, you know. And I mean, people may feel bad about this, but I feel that this is this is totally right. If I'm thinking, if I'm a politician, अगर मैं हूँ एक नेता हूँ, ठीक
Hmm.
है, और आप मेरे opponent हो, तो मैं आपको क्यों, why should I give you any sort of leeway,
Agree.
in whatever issue which is forming up in my government.
Of
I will make sure कि चित भी मेरा पद भी मेरा.
course.
I mean, what is that? I may get that wrong मुहावरा, लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि he plays through both sides, and that causes a lot of frustration in the opposition camp,
Of
and
course.
also to the people
Of
who are
course.
genuinely concerned. You know, he will neither speak
No, you
about
have
it,
a
he
valid
will neither take
point.
any
You have a
action.
valid point.
Yeah, most
Vidura,
of the
think
things,
about
it
it
is
this
happening at the
way.
background. Maybe background is something is happening,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
but
Vidura,
media
think
also
about
sort of
it this
does
way.
not needle him
We
much.
had the HRD minister by the name of Prakash Javadekar for almost 7 years, who
Yeah,
barely moved a
and he
needle.
was removed.
Barely moved
He
a
moved
pen, not even a
next
needle, I
step.
would say.
True,
I'm just saying, there was a
true
lot
that.
of criticism, there was a lot of frustration amongst people, but they stuck to him. The government stuck to him. So, if you think that you can, and let's be honest, Mr. Javadekar did not inspire much confidence from even the core party voters. Forget everybody else. It was his organizational skills again that kept him in the important frameworks of the time, much like Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan right now is for the party. Having said that, see, the thing is, and I get your point, and I agree with it that you will not be able to get the minister out because the prime minister is a hard politic man. He's a real political person. He knows that the age of the innocent morality is over long back.
Yes,
It died with
long back.
Mr. Lal
True that.
Bahadur Shastri and it is never going to come back. Let's be very clear
True,
about
true
it.
that. True that. True
So
that.
to
I totally
expect
agree with
people
this.
to resign and take a moral high stand, that politics is past its selling date. So there's no point engaging in that. Solving the problem is more important, and that has always been the approach of the Prime Minister, even when he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat. It's a long story. Anybody who has
Okay.
followed his career will know that
Hmm.
problem solving was something that came natural to him and was his approach in doing a lot of good things in Gujarat. The power sector miracle that he created in Gujarat, frankly, nobody's been able to recreate it so far in any other state of India. So credit to
Yeah.
him on that. But how do you then assuage the anger of your voters? See voter, Mr. Yashwant Deshmukh's polling agency just came out with a survey last week. More than 50% of BJP's core voters, and he had surveyed the BJP core voters more than anybody else. More than 50% of the BJP's core voters, mind you, are very angry with the way the whole situation has been handled. and they have been, and they're adamant that Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan has to be sacked.
Yeah.
Performance has to have accountability in their view. This is the kind of moral dilemma, and this is not even dilemma. I would say this is electoral dilemma, frankly, for the BJP. But what makes it easier
Hmm.
for the BJP to tackle it is the fact that the opposition is so shallow in the way they have approached issues.
Hmm.
Now you look at
True.
the leader of opposition of India, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, and frankly, he is not a willing politician even today in my view. He's a
Oh,
reluctant
absolutely.
politician. He should have not been there.
Absolutely.
He's just been forced to fulfill somebody's whims and fancies. It's very clear sometimes.
Absolutely.
Even his sister
Absolutely.
is not a willing politician in many ways. It's just that she's a better, as many people say, she's more pleasant to talk to, unlike
Yeah,
Mr.
more
Rahul.
pleasant, and I think better understanding of ground realities as far as
Exactly. I mean, she's been
Indian
more
politics
exposed
is
to real
concerned.
things in life. Yeah, clearly the case.
Yeah.
That's how I also feel.
Yeah. True.
Now, Mr.
True.
Rahul Gandhi's immediate action has not been, for instance, to ask his own ruling party state governments to, for instance, in Telangana or in Himachal Pradesh, or the two states where they were, to, or even Jharkhand where he is in a coalition government with JMM, Jharkhand Mukti
Yeah.
Morcha. None of them
Yeah.
came forward to say that we will also make our own, for instance, investigation teams to find out what's going wrong. Where did the leak happen in our states? What
Hmm.
was the chain?
What steps you are taking in your respective states with
Exactly,
respect to these exams which are getting
exactly.
conducted?
Just
Hmm.
meeting the people who have blown the lid off many of these problematic, troublesome agencies is not going to solve the problem. See, the problem is that these guys are inspired by Indira Gandhi's Belchi movement, where she, and landed up on a hathi, on an elephant, to cross a river,
Okay.
just to meet
Oh
the
yeah.
family, meet the families of Dalit families of people who had been killed in caste riots in
Hmm.
1979. And then things changed apparently magically, and she came back to power.
Yeah.
Blah
This
blah
is
blah.
this is this has always been the narrative which is
Exactly.
sort of
But you
told to
will,
be a turning point in a career.
but these optics will always fail in front of a man who's the master of optics. Are you able to match the optical politics that Narendra Modi always plays?
Yeah.
And Mr.
True
Narendra
that.
Modi, mind you, is a 24/7 politician. Rahul Gandhi has
Yes.
still been able to become a 24/7 politician.
Hmm. He can't. He
The
can't. He
era
can't.
of part-time
Unfortunately.
politics has been rendered meaningless by Mr.
Yeah.
Narendra Modi and also by Mr. Amit Shah to a large extent. You
Yeah.
do not have these situations where, see, people make, okay, there's a lot of, I think shallowness in the way when people start saying, oh, ho, Pradhan Mantri ne to chutti nahi liye 12 saal se and all that. Chutti lena is not the point. The point is that you are at the back of your mind having that meter running. Okay,
Yeah.
what is the next step that I take?
Yeah.
Just for instance, look at the dressing that Prime Minister wears whenever he is going for any inauguration.
Right.
I'll give you an example. He just went to Daman Diu, did a lot of
Hmm.
inaugurations. From
Yeah.
Daman Diu, he went to Surat, did more inaugurations. Elections are due next year in Gujarat. The campaign has already started.
Started. Yeah. Yeah.
The Congress is nowhere.
Nowhere. Nowhere. No.
Similarly, you look at the way Amit Shah landed up in Punjab, and there are
Yes.
limitations in Punjab, no doubt.
Of course, every state has
That the
its own
BJP
realities
can
and
form the
old
government
own.
and yeah, etc.
Yeah.
etc. वो सब कहने की बातें हैं.
Huh.
But you look at the way that he landed up in Punjab, conducted a huge rally, and his when working campaign bugle was sounded in a big way. They're very clear about it.
Yeah.
So, are your party men, or for that matter, any of the opposition leaders, are they able to do that? I'll give you an example of the state that I am sitting in, Uttar Pradesh. One may say that the BJP has not started campaigning yet. Fair point. But
Yeah.
so has not Mr. Akhilesh Yadav. He is
But
nowhere to
but
be found to his own party cadre.
okay. Okay. But usually, just to add more onto it, that I've seen Akhilesh Yadav to be on a foot. Whenever he sort of, at least he looks more active than Rahul Gandhi to me. But I can be wrong because I'm sitting in Maharashtra, and
I will not say
he,
Akhilesh Yadav understands the optics part of politics very well. But when it comes
okay.
to doing things on the ground, he is clearly
Hmm.
not able to bring together people. And there are genuine issues that his own party is facing right now, being split into factions. How will you
Oh,
overcome
interesting.
that is a problem that I don't see a solution to necessarily. And the
Hmm.
fact that out of the last 4 or 5 elections that he contested, including the Lok Sabha elections, I mean, there's only
Yeah.
one where he had some level of success. Otherwise, he's been
Yeah.
consecutively defeated. So one would say that he's also a fairly spent force. And mind you, he has been made to pivot his position, interestingly.
Yeah.
For those who don't know his politics, a Kedarnath Mandir has been set up in his native place in Zapai on the model of the Uttarakhand Kedarnath Dham.
Oh, nice. Okay, I didn't
Uh,
knew this. Very
he's been
interesting.
wishing,
Very interesting.
after the Bengal election loss, he's been wishing everybody for Bada Mangal of Hanuman ji.
Yes, 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 yes. Visited Hanuman temple suddenly, and
And he said that he
there was
will
this
build Parshuram
Bhandara.
statue. He promised to build Parshuram statues all over Uttar Pradesh, while his
Yes,
party
yes,
on the
yes.
ground continues to abuse Brahmins everywhere,
As to what difference that will make for Brahmins, I don't know.
and made a hue and cry about Maharana Pratap Jayanti and Parshuram Jayanti being removed from holiday list,
Oh,
which
ho, ho,
frankly,
ho.
see, I can fairly say that nobody wanted those holidays in the first place. Those are just nuisance at some level,
Yeah,
because a state of 27, almost 27, I guess it should be 27 by 27 crores now, 270
yeah.
million, if I were to
270
take
million.
today,
Yes, yes, 280.
if it would materialize in the way I'm imagining it. A 270 million state, which is bigger than many countries, mind you, can it afford to run with so many holidays?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
The
And
government
especially when
administration
you are
कर क्या रहा है?
targeting, and
Exactly.
especially when you are targeting to become one of the largest economy state wise,
Exactly.
in a country.
The honorable chief minister, like the honorable prime minister, he is also given a economic target for his state. He said by 2030, I want it to be a $1 trillion economy.
Hmm.
It cannot
Yes,
happen
correct.
with 200 holidays out of 365 days, I mean to say. Right? I know I'm being jestful, but
Absolutely.
still,
True.
right? You have to have some sense of that.
But at least the change in Akhilesh Yadav and other politicians, like for example, for lack of any other name, let me also include Kejriwal in the discussion. You know, at least at some point of time, at their some point, they understand. Okay, fine. The Overton window of the Indian politics has shifted a bit to the
Definitely.
Hindutva side. Okay,
Definitely.
and I think you really cannot clearly be seen as someone who is totally opposed to the ideals of it. Okay,
Hmm.
at least symbolically you have to play to that gallery so that
Agreed.
you can have a chance in next elections. Okay, but I think the major problem with these kind of parties, which become too much personality centric.
Hmm.
I'm not saying BJP is not personality centric currently, because everything is being, I mean, if they win, the current prime minister has to get a credit, but 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 ultimately BJP is a cadre based party. It has a clear cut ideology. It has a clear cut vision. You may not agree with that vision, but they have a vision as to what they want to do for the country. Okay, and our plural population. Okay, uh, 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 and they are able to also provide results in these
Hmm.
many years
Yeah,
when it comes to certain chronic issues.
of
Now,
course.
you may again, I would say the result is sort of mixed bag, but again, some government has tried to resolve the issues which has been chronic issues, which
Of
has
course.
been not addressed for so many years since
Of course.
independence. Okay, and on the other side, you have opposition parties. Now there are two kind of opposition parties. You have the National Congress, National Party Congress, which is totally Gandhi led party, total personality cult, cannot think beyond Gandhi's, and Gandhi's act, the family act, as a glue for the Congress actually, at this stage as well.
It's
Okay,
a these are very
and
good points.
yeah,
Like,
and
I let's finish your point. Finish your
yeah. So and the second kind of parties which we have is regional parties. Again, deeply personality cult based parties. Okay, who sort of can't think beyond what exactly their party will do when these people won't remain. Okay, in political life. Okay,
point.
so I think that itself gives massive advantage to BJP.
No, that's a good point, and I think it's so. You have actually pointed out to a larger national trend that is taking place, and I think
Yeah.
this is a large national trend that a lot of people had also been hoping for, frankly, for some time, and that is the
Yeah.
presence of two solid national blocks in a way. I mean, just broadly, not necessarily party, but blocks. Because what has
Yeah.
happened is that the national party, particularly the BJP in this case, has effectively rendered a large number of regional parties defunct or irrelevant
Yes.
in all parts of India.
Yes.
And those that have any modicum of desire for survival, have decided to ally with the BJP or save its grace somehow with the Congress.
Hmm.
They cannot stand on their own today, and
Totally. Totally.
everything that on the ground that tells you that this is exactly the case right now. Let's
And
look at
everyone, and the problem with this regional party is that everyone wants to have their sort of a fief, a
hmm,
fiefdom, a place
exactly,
where they are running the show and they are the only one. They are the Maibab of it. And I
exactly.
think
See, a
that's such a
regional
shallow.
party, exactly, a regional party has no ideology to drive it. And if a regional party falls out of power, the minute it falls out of power,
Yeah.
it also has issues of financing. No? They don't know how to survive. See, in India, unfortunately or fortunately, we have created a situation where instead of having a seriously decentralized system, urban heavy system of
Hmm.
growth and development and organization of polity, we drove our polity into the rural heartland of India, not just in the
Right.
north, but in the south as well.
In the south. Yeah.
Urban cities and urban centers have no serious power in most states of India.
True.
So that dichotomy it has created is that for the state government to be in power, you need rural votes. But if you want to have money bags, you need the urban.
Correct. 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 That's a classic dichotomy of the
And
Indian
you are
politics.
not able, and no regional party will ever be able to solve this problem. Because regional parties think that, rightly or wrongly, that power will flow from the rural seats. And so that has been their focus predominantly. Have you
Right.
seen, when was the last time that a regional party seriously contested municipal corporation elections in India, except for Maharashtra?
That is true. Absolutely true. Absolutely true.
It just tells you everything that you need to know. And
True.
Maharashtra is a unique case because Maharashtra is a different kind of polity. It is the kind of polity that India needs to become. It is urban centric and not rural centric necessarily
Yes,
in
that
the
is
way it
true.
should.
It is urban centric, and
Not
it
to
is
say that
able
the
to.
rural areas are not receiving attention, but
Yeah,
the the thrust of power comes from the urban centers.
urban centers and
I think it was by
Maharashtra.
default that it turned up like that because of the Mumbai Thane Kalyan belt.
Yes, yes,
But
yes, yes,
the
yes.
greater
To that.
Mumbai region, as they call it, Navi Mumbai to
Greater
that.
Mumbai. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think
But
I think
and
another
you
part.
even all these big politicians of regional areas,
Hmm,
say Latur or say from Pune Baramati belt,
yeah,
they realized this long back, and that is what at least made sure that at least one town was reasonable, so that we continue to have the money flows.
right, right, right. True that. Interestingly, they have been also defeated by
Of course,
BJP's
of course,
Juggernaut, and
of
and
course,
currently,
because there's
they
only
are
so
also
much that a
looking
party can, without any ideology or cadre, survive at the end of the day.
can survive. Yeah, true. And
And
I
two
think
cycles is
the
all it takes to kill a party, mind you. Two electoral cycles is all it takes to kill a regional party or make it irrelevant in the state.
Very interesting. But I am seeing in just one election, one political party is getting decimated
Ah,
in
exactly.
Bengal.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is crazy
That's the
what is
thing.
happening in Bengal. Actually, didn't
Two is
expected
the upper
this.
limit. One is usually the case in a lot of these personality cult parties. Just look at what is going on to Mr. Kejriwal's party, since you mentioned his name earlier.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Totally, totally.
There's every chance that in Punjab they will not even be able to get half the seats that they won in the that they currently hold in the assembly.
Very interesting. I think the panchayat elections which happened in Punjab, it was a bit revealing, I guess. Though it won the majority of seats, but a lot of seats got reduced, and
Yeah,
you see
yeah.
Congress getting ahead, BJP getting bagging some seats there. That's very interesting
Punjab,
because it is happening
Himachal.
at panchayat level.
Yeah, yeah. No, both in Punjab and Himachal, interestingly, what has happened is that there have been massive allegations of electoral rigging at the panchayat
Hmm.
level. And that has been the reason, and that is the result of the paper ballot system that still exists for those areas.
Got it. Got it. Very interesting.
There's this political activist and Instagrammer, VR Himachal. He pointed out the
Yeah.
very rather ingenuous way in which lots of votes were disqualified. So basically, there's a sheet of paper and there'll be a line
Hmm.
drawn for two candidates of the panchayat, Gram Sabha
Okay.
election. Now the paper ballot means that you have to basically put your thumb mark with the ink, with the stamp paper ink, and fold the paper and put it in the ballot box.
Hmm.
The ink, because the paper is so, you're folding it in such a way that the stamp gets duplicated on the other candidate's name as well,
Oh,
which
quite a
leads to
novel.
the disqualification of the vote.
Oh,
And that is how everybody's
quite a
playing the
novel
dirty
idea. I
game.
mean, but this is
This is
happening
more,
only at
this is even
panchayat
worse than
level.
the Thapa vote system that the TMC had. Trust me.
Oh, very
See, at
interesting.
least
So
the
basically,
same thing
basically,
was the
basically,
same
the
thing
panchayat
taking place
elections,
in, yeah, yeah. The same, just to complete
basic.
the point, the saving grace in the case of the panchayat elections in Northwest India was that at least the number of voters didn't turn, that voter turnout was not higher than the number of voters, which used to be the case in Bengal under Trinamool. 125%
Okay.
vote share. 125% people
Yeah.
voted for the panchayat election. How is that even possible in a country like India?
No, you
And where did
found a
these
lot of.
extra 25% people, 25 percentage point people turn up from? Nobody can answer.
Yeah, but again, I mean, you got the answer of it. A lot of bogus Aadhaar cards found
Exactly.
with their candidates in Bengal, and I mean, literally mounds of Aadhaar card.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
is
Very common.
crazy the kind of malpractices being taken, and I mean being committed by these regional parties, to
Exactly.
remain and maintain their fief. And unfortunately, in Bengal, TMC was bordering towards compromising our national security. You know, and given what has happened, in our periphery, from Nepal to Sri Lanka to Bangladesh and
Of
Pakistan,
course. Of course.
we have been sort of being encircled by our adversaries. Okay, though I'll come on that topic later, but the point which I want to make again is on the regional party side is that these people are unable to reinvent themselves. They are unable to understand that times have changed. It's not the
Yes.
70s, it's not the 80s and 90s now. They are unable to understand. I mean, the huge shift in time, a
Hmm.
huge shift in polity which has come. Okay, a particular generation of 60s and 80s, from 50s till 80s, is getting old. They're getting sort of getting behind or
Yeah.
getting sidelined now, and new generation of the 90s and late 80s, and then you're this whole Gen Z which is coming. But I think expecting from Gen Z is something which will be a bigger disaster, given that we have seen
I
what uh, what a shit show CJP, this whole, and this was a soft launch for rap. Honestly speaking, this was so evident from the face value. I mean, I don't understand. ये मीडिया वालों को भी मतलब यार, तुम मीडिया वाले यार मतलब क्या कर रहे हो यार? You are hyping up so
I
much,
agree.
okay,
I
and
agree.
reality, what is happening, and you are failing that, and you are totally failing to tell that to public. Public are not fools. It is so evident.
It's more than evident. And see, this is the problem. And I was saying this earlier as well. It's not that there is not anger against the BJP on many issues. There's a lot of anger against the BJP
There
on
are
many issues.
genuine anger. There are massive anger
But
in
what
people,
is the
but
constructive framework of criticism that the opposition has created?
created,
When
yeah,
you ask this question,
true.
the answer is nothing.
Nothing, nothing. No answer, no
So why
solution,
will
no
people
alternate vision.
or voters waste their time, energy, and their political franchise power behind spent forces who are bereft of ideas, who have
Yeah,
nothing new to offer? They tried it with
true.
Mr. Arvind Kejriwal. After 2.5 years, he basically, I mean, the first term was still okay. I would say it was not a bad term necessarily. Let's be honest about a few things. He did
Yeah.
deliver on some of the freebie promises that he came up with. And here was another party that frankly had no ideology. It
Mm.
was, I mean, even if it was trying to be one man show, it at least in the first phase, as I call it, they were bothering about urban issues of Delhi,
Yeah,
which could have
yeah,
been,
they were.
also become a model at some level, perhaps, for small states of India. And that would have been the
Yeah,
ideal way to go forward. But since Mr. Kejriwal's ambitions were too big for his own good,
good. Yeah,
what you see today is basically nothing. The party is nowhere. It is
yeah.
drifting in wilderness. Unfortunately, it will die a very painful death, and its
Mm.
components will break up and merge into different parties.
Already has
At the
happened.
end. Yeah, it's
It
going
has
on in
already
one way or
happened.
the other. Already
Yeah.
going on in one way or the other, and that's unfortunate. That's the unfortunate reality of the party. It's not going. It's going to become a two-seat party at best, like most other regional parties of India.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be a Delhi-based party, or it will Punjab-based regional party sort of. Another regional party got added into Punjab's kit,
Yeah, yeah,
apart
yeah.
from Akali Dal.
The
Uh,
AAP model was no different from the CPM model, where the Bengal unit was a totally different party from the Kerala unit. So there's no
yeah,
difference. It's the same story all over again, except the CPM also, by the way, is irrelevant in today's politics. Keep that in mind. Communism, despite all its proponents, all its advocates in India, is electorally insignificant today. That tells you a lot about the way things are right now in India. And if you think about it carefully, the fact that the third front, see, BJP grew at the cost of the third front, essentially, that used to be there. Because the third front was basically a meandering force which was opposed to the Congress effectively, more than being opposed to the BJP. And the BJP ate up that vote bank. There is no room for a floating electorate if it wants to. The BJP itself faces criticism even from its own core voters for not adhering enough to the Hindutva agenda as they claim to. There's no denying that. So how do you solve this?
right. So I think that's a limitation of the electoral democracy, because being outside, it's very easy for you to come up with these very novel ideas, and you want to implement those, and there will be a huge turnaround. But you will see it across the democracies in the world. You will always find that when you come into the system itself constrains you to take certain actions,
Yeah.
which you may want to take but you can't. Okay.
Of
and i
course.
think
Of course.
I think at one part it's good as well, because unlike I mean, there are always chances of the system getting utilized for much worse things which a particular government or a particular party can do against its own people.
Yep.
Okay, but the thing is, I think in India, and this is sort of, I want to make it as a last point in our discussion on this particular topic, is that largely in India, the main issue is that we are witnessing a sort of helplessness among people, where they really want to address some chronic issues, like, for example, the quality of living. It
Of
is, it is
course.
it is coming at a
Of course.
forefront nowadays. Earlier we do not used to hear much about pollution levels, about about and local corruption, local level corruption in
Of course.
municipalities,
Of course.
in lot of regulatory bodies, especially in real estate. Now
Yeah.
it is sort of, people are becoming sort of frustrated with it. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, the people who are becoming frustrated are either poor, or either you are a middle or upper middle class. Okay, and unfortunately, you don't have much power to influence the decision, because you want to make sure that your family is fed well, and
Of course.
you're financially secure. But if you are someone who is beyond that, you are already getting enriched. So why you
Yes.
want to disturb the system which is already enriching yourself? Okay.
Agreed.
Now I understand there must be some genuine people who really want this whole red tapeism gone totally, where they can do it. But honestly speaking, one point I would like to make. A lot of people blame the government sometimes, for corruption. But people do not know the amount of greed a private party, or a private person or a private company can have, and that is to a large extent gets ignored in the public discourse. A lot of times government want to do their jobs, with whole transparent manner. They want people to follow the rules, and they want to execute it in a timely manner. But you would find that due to greed, the contractor themselves sometimes sabotage the government's way. And I have firsthand witnessed it. Of course, I can't disclose the details because it is confidential. But yes, I've witnessed this. So I think, at a larger level, I think our people need to realize that the society itself needs to be reformed. uh, you know
Hmm.
the society, whether should, barring any caste, barring uh, uh, any religion, ultimately you have to understand that Indian society is totally corrupt, and it is including you and me, because the system itself rewards the corruption. Okay, that is how it is. So
That's true.
so the
That's
society
true.
has to be changed, and it won't happen through government, it won't happen through a political party. It is something which needs to be socially engineered by someone. And how it gets engineered, god knows, given the plural population we have, given the diverse set of population we have. And it's very difficult to bring diverse sets of population to a one particular single point agenda, because
Of
everyone is
course.
voting for their own benefit. Ultimately, I think, except us, except the urban centers, I think, where these lines sort of, gets draw. I mean, it gets uh, lighter. I guess, when you stay in an urban city, you mingle with a lot of people with different backgrounds, right? So it doesn't bother you so much. Okay. Um, but unfortunately, as you said, the dichotomy of Indian politics: you get the political power from rural areas, and you get the money for that power from the urban centers. So urban centers basically are like blood bags for
Exactly.
the political parties, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what do you think about this scenario? Because there's a lot of, वो होता है ना, एक हताशा सी आ चुकी है लोगों के मन में. And this is not a good state to be in, honestly speaking,
I
for a country,
agree. And
and country that wants to grow. that wants to become
No, I
Vishwaguru, that
agree.
wants to become
See,
10 trillion economy. This cannot be.
and
This is not how you become greater.
100%, 100%. I this is where I find it very interesting that okay, things are actually, see, it is important to have discussions on these things, but not to get your sentiment get let your sentiment get carried away in the wrong direction is the important thing. Now, as you said, we need power with accountability in this country. By
Hmm.
accountability, I mean that where the monies come from is where your vote should also have a greater say at some level. Now, the southern states keep talking about delimitation against them, going against them.
Yeah.
My question is that if you are so against delimitation, would you also give equal rights to the state, to your major cities? What stopped, except for Tamil Nadu, name any other southern state which has developed one major center apart from the capital city all in all these years? None.
There's no other city. None. None.
Nobody has been able to do that.
The only here
Bengaluru
Chennai.
is 40% of Karnataka's GDP.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. No other
Karnataka is
cities.
one state which is so rich in natural resources, it could have been the big exporting powerhouse from India like anything. It should have been even bigger than Tamil Nadu long back. It's still not. Which tells you the problem of the way electoral politics right now runs. And my hope is
Right now.
that as the census now happens, this is my silver line,
Hmm. Hmm.
there will be a forced acknowledgement of the fact that there is a far higher population in the urban areas than in rural areas,
Hmm.
and that you need to
Yeah.
start making that make your governance accountable to that, because
To that. Yeah.
delimitation will now create that will shift the axis of power from the rural areas to the urban areas,
Hmm.
which
This
we
is this is
frankly
the
need in this.
this is always so basically the purpose of this delimitation is to ensure that the power center shifts from rural to urban. Okay.
Exactly.
And unfortunately we are very late to this process. This should have happened uh,
See, what we
way
are
back.
fighting on with respect to delimitation is all the wrong things, right?
Yeah, absolutely,
States,
absolutely.
share of states in the way the polity happens will be managed eventually, and that is the
Hmm.
least of my concern. My bigger concern is why are you letting uh, what you yourself describe, you as in the BJP, or you look at its thinkers, say that the whole idea that rural India glorification has created a serious backwardness of this country socially, culturally, economically.
Hmm.
Why are you perpetuating that? Or why are you letting it perpetuate? You have to create a system where eventually power has to shift. Unless UP has 16 municipal corporations, name three of any significance in terms of economy. None.
None, none, none.
Neither Lucknow nor Kanpur nor Varanasi, nothing.
Nothing.
Your
No.
most
Yes.
economically important city is not even a city technically.
No, not at
It's
all,
an
sir.
industrial township.
Yeah, yeah.
Noida.
Yeah, it's a town. Yeah,
It doesn't even
it's a
have a.
normal
It's not
town.
governed by the municipal corporation, mind you. It is governed by an authority, a proper
Yeah, yeah.
board.
I know. I know. I know.
So that tells
I
me a
think
lot about how our cities are being run and what we need accountability for cities. And that is only way we will be able to break the kind of morass we've created for ourselves politically and culturally and socially. You want a
right,
lot
right.
of your problems
Absolutely.
solved. The Great Reformation, a lot of people talk about the Meiji restoration style situation coming up in India. Frankly,
It is
the
not coming
only
up.
thing we can come, the only way we can come somewhat close to such a radical departure is when political power shifts from rural centers to urban centers. That is,
Yeah,
mind you, what the Meiji restoration effectively did.
and same thing was done in China as well
Exactly.
when Mao came to power. He
Exactly.
actually took a lot of people, and a lot of people from rural areas were literally forced and were told and were literally put in trains and asked them to go to urban area and work there.
Exactly. Exactly.
uh, you know
And even
so
after Mao, people like Deng Xiaoping basically ensured that cities were given that kind of power. Large
Yeah.
mega cluster cities turned up, and they
Yeah.
were able to do these things. You cannot have a
Yes.
system continue where you think that you this whole fascination that one factory that comes up in a rural area will be able to transform lives needs to go away. Let's be
True that.
realistic.
True that.
Let's be realistic.
True that. True
And
that. True that.
unless that comes through delimitation, we should, I mean, I am hopeful that it will come through delimitation. At least
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
numbers will force them to do that.
Yeah.
So I think there is a silver lining to the way things are moving. It's not necessarily all gloomy,
Yeah.
but yes,
Definitely.
we are still kind of racing against time on this one.
We are we are racing against time on a lot of issues, unfortunately. But I think we need to we need to look at. See, I mean, in all honesty, it took for I think America and the whole Western civilization, whole West took at least 100 to 150 years to reach where they are now,
Yeah,
and they all went through great upheavals in their
exactly.
lifetime, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Now the only aberration in this whole developing to developed or underdeveloped to developed scenario is China, because it was able to become a developed nation in just one generation. That's history that has never happened in the history of mankind. Okay, but you also have to consider the fact that China was ably assisted, promoted, and provided financial life by the Western
Exactly.
civilization itself.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, and when you look at India, India being a messy democracy, electoral democracy, you can't compare it with China. Sorry, boss, it can't be done because the Chinese conditions are very different and ours are very different. Unfortunately, our adversaries do not want another great democracy to rise, and that too in the East.
Whatever one may
And
say,
yeah,
it's interesting that you bring this up because if China were out of the picture on any economic indicator, major economic indicator today, I'll give you a few examples. Production of steel, production of cement, building of roads, addition of power cup generation capacity, especially clean energy, okay, number of vehicles being sold, number of houses being built. There's only one country that stands out, that's India.
yeah,
No
there's
other
only
country
one country. Yeah,
has that scale.
the speed at which it is being done, and especially it got accelerated within this government at a
Exactly.
very fast pace.
Exactly.
Now again, again,
Yeah,
again,
and so
again to just bring a
China being
caveat.
China's scale is different. Let's
Yeah,
be
yeah,
let's accept
again
that.
to bring in
Let's
the
celebrate.
caveat, you may disagree with the quality of it, but you
Yeah,
can't.
exactly.
But again, given our conditions, given our climatic conditions, okay, and given our
Yeah,
institutional corruption, unfortunately, this is but expected.
yeah,
Now,
of course.
to resolve that, you need to purge the system, and that purging is not happening with the democracy. Sorry, it's not happening.
It's very
It's
difficult to
not
create
happening.
that situation. Agree.
Yeah, it's
Agree.
not happening with the electoral democracy. If people are expecting that one politician will come and he will pull out a stick and just
Yeah.
start beating
Yeah,
the
and
beating the system, and the system will get. It's not happening.
unless you have the gerrymandered democratic systems of Southeast Asia, there's no other way it's going to happen. So
Yeah,
let's be
no,
very let's
you have to
let's
you have to
moderate
become you have to
expectations.
become yeah, yeah, true, and you have to become like a Korea, or you have to become like a Japan, or you have to become like
Yeah.
what do you say,
I mean,
your
I don't even go that
which
far. I
another,
mean, from a
Singapore.
democratic perspective, yeah, exactly. Singapore, Thailand, Malaysia, they're all democracies on paper. But the way
Yeah,
they're so heavily gerrymandered in some ways that the urban
yeah,
vote matters much more than the rural vote in these places tells
yes,
you a lot. Even
yes, yes.
Indonesia.
Yeah,
So
even
it's
Indonesia
it's
as well. True.
and Indonesia
Even
is the India of
Vietnam.
Southeast Asia in every sense. Large country, stumbling everywhere, still
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
managing to have.
Still they're managing.
So
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
key thing is that unless they have that kind of Mahathir Mohamad had once said in India that you have too much democracy, you should have less democracy. That is the only way
Yeah,
you will grow.
definitely you should have less democracy, because
Now that's a
because
very
you're
controversial
allowing.
opinion for a lot of people, and I don't take a stand necessarily on this. What I mean to say is that we have to, at some level, also accept that there will be limitations to what we can do, to what
Yeah,
extent we can manage things. And
yeah.
if you moderate expectations on that front, you will realize that actually we have a very decent picture emerging for this country.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely, of course. But and you can't also expect solutions to work in seconds, because it will take time. We are a
Of
huge
course, of
country
course,
with huge population, and that to a democracy. It has
of course.
limitations, unfortunately. And if you are okay with democracy being getting suspended, your vote getting suspended,
Exactly.
think
Exactly.
twice if you are okay with that. Personally, at my level, I'm okay for certain years, you know, till the time the system gets purged or it gets reset by a capable person. But again, you never know what kind of a person turns out to be at the helm.
Exactly. And
Will he
I
be?
think
Will he be? Yeah.
democracy is a system that is frankly natural to India, not
Hmm.
just historically, but even as a society.
Yeah.
We have been a fairly open society, a fairly plural society in every sense.
Yes. Always been.
And so, if you want to have plurality reflecting in the way you are also managed, there's no other way.
And in fact,
You know,
it's very interesting point you made, sir. And I think there is this. I was listening to some historian, Indian historian he is, and he said a very interesting point. During the times of kings as well, they also had to make sure that all other pluralities or all other communities are getting fairly represented. They have to manage them. They have to. So you have this, you have this, what do you say, a kingship where you are
yeah.
a Raja de Raj, or you are sort of a Samrat. But being a Samrat won't give you a right to actually, for example, there is a particular tribe in your kingdom, okay, and that particular tribe has its own head, okay. A king cannot go and just decapitate him and tell him, now your subjects are mine. No, that's not how our Indian kingship was conducted. You may very well defeat him, but
In the
you
Chola dynasty times, this is the 9th century, I'm going to refer to a very good example that's very well acknowledged historically as well.
yeah,
In a place called Uttirameru, some copper plates were discovered, some stone and copper engravings,
yeah.
where they had delineated the way in which the local Gram Pradhan would be, the local village chief would be elected by the people.
Okay.
There were proper rules documented for that.
Rules.
And mind you, Cholas were a very powerful uh, dynasty at that time in the south. So
Yeah.
even at the peak of their power, they were getting local village chiefs elected. That's what I'm trying to say. That whatever one may say, it is natural. It's
Natural
a
to us. Yeah.
it's natural to us. You will not be able to
Yeah.
escape this system.
And
This is
somehow
something that people
somehow
understand.
and one interesting part, another part we don't understand from, I think, from history, is that we Indians are naturally receptive of foreigners.
Agree?
Don't you
Agree.
think? Though we
It's
had a
been a
concept of,
training. It's a
though
training that
we
we have subconsciously undergone. I put it that way.
okay, 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 okay. Because see, I mean, in the ancient times, you had an. I think this is on this topic. This will be a last point of discussion. I would like to have. I would just want to say that, though we had a concept of Malecha, where anyone outside the Aryavart was considered a barbarian, okay,
Hmm.
and you are the Arya, basically you are a noble, okay. Unless and until you are a leftist, you won't agree with this particular point of mine, okay, and you are a Romila Thapar fan. Nevertheless, the point I would like to make is, though we consider them as barbarian or a Malecha, okay, but we were receptive of them. If they are sort of, sort of solving our issues, or maybe they are receptive of our feelings, or let's say our culture, like it happened with Huns. I don't know, I mean, I'm pronouncing it right or not, but
Yeah, you're
but
right. Homes were a
yeah,
classic example of being
yeah,
becoming mainstream in the culture,
in the culture,
having
Mihir
adopted
Kula,
religious ways of
uh,
life. I'll give you an
yeah,
even more recent example. The way the Ahoms became a major ruling force in
precisely,
Assam,
yes, yes,
and
yes.
the way, or for the matter, in which the Metais of Manipur
Vaishnavites.
Vaishnavized. So it's not that it has not happened. Again, it's a sign of a kind of inclusivity that we cannot otherwise realize. But we don't
Right, it
trust
comes.
those who try to trample on our way of life. I think that is the way it happens.
Yeah, because I think it changed. It fundamentally changed with the Islamic invasions, which
Exactly.
started from the Arabia, and then I think the English colonialism literally changed the whole paradigm of it. Like
Agree.
the kind of
Mhm.
brutal treatment was meted out during Islamic colonization, and then English colonization, European colonization in the Indian subcontinent. I think that sort of seeped all the energy out of us,
And you know, that
and
still governs the way, for instance, just doing a segue as well, the
yeah,
way we have our relations with the West today, especially, say, with
correct.
America.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
One very famous ex user handle that you also follow caustically remarked about Sergio Gore being the viceroy.
And that's really, I mean, it's such an apt observation. If you
Yeah,
look at the way he's
because
functioning.
yes, it was caustic, very to the point as well to an extent. But
Yeah.
why I'm saying this is because it our history is such, and especially the way the Europeans also dealt with the Indian insecurities, the native
Hmm.
insecurities as such, that distrust continues to remain a foundation of our foreign policy with respect to many countries.
Right. So, coming into the next topic of ours currently, as you pointed out, and I would like to take his name as well. So guys, this is Navroop Singh. Do follow him on X.
Fantastic
Great geopolitical
handle. Please
analyst.
follow.
Yeah, please follow him. And I think if you want unbiased, clear, objective view about geopolitical situation which is currently unfolding, I think that's the best handle from the Indian perspective to follow, because all
Yeah.
other are, they are just junkets of some NGO, or let's say of some elite institutions,
Mhm.
and unfortunately they cannot be as free as a particular
Mhm.
person, an
Agree.
individual, can be.
Agree.
So coming on to this topic, and I want your analysis on this, and I want to keep it a bit short, because it's quite a wide topic, and we have a lot of topics to discuss later on in later episodes. Uh, you know, uh, U.S. America relationship is going at a very turbulent period. In fact, much worse, much confused, I would say, than it was during Nixon's era. Though I would say Nixon era was bit. I would take, I would keep it a bit notch up than what is
Hmm.
happening today, because literally a warship was sent to deter India to
Yeah.
attack Pakistan. So that is something really, but but what we are seeing is totally running down of India-US relation, which was getting built strategically by both the countries
Hmm.
since the early 2000s. Okay, and especially the post-liberalization. When we sort of agreed with the IMF and World Bank's lot of
Yeah.
conditions. And
Yeah.
then you have this remarkable pact during Clinton's era.
Yeah.
Where we sort of agreed to become a backend for the IT sector, for the IT services,
Yeah.
which operates in America. So now you are seeing this whole lot of forces acting as a they are pulling strings, and they're ensuring that US and India's strategic alliance is, you know I mean, it's not reaching its potential, sort of. uh, and the Trump administration has been relentless, especially in second term, to make sure that India sort of loses its leverage within the global south uh, as well, and especially the kind of things we have witnessed in our periphery. And I
Hmm.
would start with first with Pakistan.
Hmm.
Imran Khan gets booted out by the military. Uh, Field Marshal Munir, he comes in, and he takes the reign of the country, and stitch a political alliance between the what do you say, Sharifs and the Bhuttos. Okay,
Hmm.
and then in Sri Lanka you had this popular, again, another Gen Z uprising, which
Hmm.
puts out the political dynasty there. Okay, and bring in the communist prime minister. It's very interesting. I mean, seriously, I didn't knew communists were so
Yeah.
powerful
Right.
in Lanka. Yeah,
And then, yes.
and then in Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, so good with us, trying to develop Bangladesh into a well-to-do economy, fairly well-to-do economy. Okay, and another Gen Z uprising happens, and you see him getting booted, her getting booted out, and we are the ones who have provided,
Yeah.
assistance to her. Then Nepal suddenly ignites, another Gen Z revolution takes place, and you have this some whole new B rapper, sort of a singer, who becomes
Malaysia.
a prime minister, Mr. Baled Shah. A very eccentric personality, I would say.
Right.
Okay, and all these parties, when I see them, I don't
Hmm.
see them someone who has interest of India in their minds. And unfortunately, they are playing into foreign powers' hands, which is not good for our subcontinent. Okay, and I think that's the bane of the Eastern civilization currently. We will never ever be, a sort of united force
Hmm.
against the Western designs. Okay, and I think Western powers want a lot of Eastern countries to become like Myanmar,
Hmm.
festered with civil conflicts. Okay, getting rotten, all its structure getting rotten,
Yeah.
people fighting each other, killing each other literally, vying for control. And I think in Myanmar, and sorry, I forgot Myanmar. It also comes into our periphery. Myanmar also sort of, it is unable to come out of the civil conflict,
Yeah.
though the military still holds significant power. They are not being defeated. They are yet to be defeated by the rebels there. So you see what is happening in our periphery. You see what is being done with by the Trump administration on the H-1B. Indians are on the target. Suddenly in America and in Western Europe as well. Okay, so what is your analysis of this, and where do you think this will go in future?
See, the way the US is particularly under Donald Trump behaving, and this is not just something that started with Donald Trump. I think recently I heard some very eminent foreign policy analysts, I'll not name them, they came on a podcast. They said something very, I would say, important. This is not a policy that has basically birthed in isolation, the way I would say not just India, but a lot of other countries are being dealt with. The US has figured out that it has nothing more to gain from a global order anymore, from an economic perspective, particularly.
Yeah,
And so we want to basically withdraw from it in a
correct,
large.
correct.
But we will withdraw on our terms, is the way they want to ensure.
Hmm.
If you look at Mr. Joe Biden as president, he brought in the Inflation Reduction Act, right?
Okay.
Inflation Reduction Act was nothing but a protectionist law brought in to force manufacturers to produce domestically and not shelf overseas any economic activity. Donald
Yeah,
Trump is just continuing the same.
yeah. It's reshoring of the industrial base to
Just
America.
reshoring, just continuing with the policy. So there has been a consistency in policy for more than 4 years now. for 6 years. Huh?
Yeah. True,
There's
true.
nothing new about it.
Something which I have to give credit to Americans. I mean, the
They,
policy
yeah,
remains
agree. They made the pivot
sacrosanct.
they wanted to, and they're doing the pivot very well. Let's be very clear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, India, I think we are also probably reading a little too much, as I see, in the way our neighborhood. We need to be concerned, yes, but do we need to probably, be hysterical about it? I don't think so. The way neighborhood
Okay.
is behaving. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
See,
Hmm.
India doesn't accept anything but a bilateral situation for its own disputes with any of the
Yeah.
neighboring countries.
Right. That has been a cornerstone of our foreign policy.
Exactly. So, with what right would India be in a position to say, okay, let me interfere in your bilateral matter,
Hmm.
be it on the Iran front, be it on the Russia-Ukraine front? India has no locus standi necessarily, because then it also opens you to the fact that okay, if you can interfere in somebody else's disputes, somebody else should also be allowed to become a mediator in your dispute.
Right. Right.
So in
Good
that
point.
sense, probably we are overreading, for instance, the way Pakistan is working with Iran, and Pakistan is a country that can probably go to Pakistan, but But on a more serious note, they have a very direct stake in peace between the Americans and the Iranians for a
Yeah.
very simple reason. They share a border directly, physically with Iran.
Yes.
Any civil conflict will literally spill over into Pakistan any minute.
Hmm. Yes.
For them,
Yes.
it is existential in nature to
Hmm.
have peace in the region, mind you,
True. True.
unlike
True.
us. And so, if they're doing it, it is fine. I think we should. Yes, it should have probably not been given the kind of international coverage it got, but it's okay. We are a big country. We need to also behave like a big country on this subject, frankly, as I
Yeah.
see it. Now, coming to the questions of what is going on in Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Bangladesh, particularly. I think what happened in Bangladesh should have been read by the Indian establishment long. It was a lapse on our part, having visited Bangladesh personally that time. Mind you, around that time, there was a lot
Yeah.
of, I wouldn't say ferocious anger, but there was definitely a lot of discontent in the way the economy was mismanaged by Madam Sheikh Hasina. They had run out
Oh.
of practically foreign reserves, and everything
Okay.
was very expensive, despite the economy going wherever it was, according to many fancy full economists around the world and in India. I visited that. So this is 2024. I was there, and this was the same month, mind you, when the revolution kind of kicked off around the same time, which was
Okay.
the first week or second week of July. So we're very close to that, the anniversary of that, if you recall. So what happened was, and you could see that they were trying to build a new terminal for their international airport in Dhaka, and the work had stopped for work had not progressed for 6 months, mind you, because the government was not able to pay the Chinese contractors for building. So there was an economic problem. Similar was actually the case with Nepal also, to a large extent.
Right. Lot of corruption as well. Lot of corruption.
Massive
Lot
corruption.
of
Massive
massive.
corruption.
Yeah.
And even in Sri Lanka, you had the same grounds: major economic discontent, serious devaluation of the currency, uh, major problems even on the power front, for that matter, in these three countries, curiously. So, one can say that yes, somebody lit a spark, but the fact remains that there was enough fuel to light a spark.
Yeah, true. There has to be a fuel to light a spark. It does not light it up automatically. True that.
Exactly. And that is where probably I'm not criticizing I would say, foreign policy establishment, but I think they probably I think downplayed the reading they were getting from the crowd. That's how I see it.
Hmm.
And though I don't think they've done anything wrong necessarily, even with the way they've dealt with the new governments that have come in all three places. Right? I think they've been very mature about it. And it also has taught them a very valuable lesson, and I think they're doing it very well. You should have a diverse set of actors to engage with in any country. You should not just be reliant on one horse for your race.
Hmm.
I mean,
Hmm.
bet on
Hmm. Hmm.
many horses, as many horses as you
Bet on heavy horses. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So it's not a bad deal. I think it's an evolving strategy from our side, and we are learning to become a big country in that sense.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
think even if we have border disputes with some of them, it is probably in our interest to ensure that there is no needless internationalization of those disputes created by the neighboring party.
Hmm.
Let them be doing it for their domestic galleries. यार हम भी तो करते हैं ना.
हाँ बिल्कुल वो तो
मतलब
है
नहीं,
बट
मतलब ठीक है. अब हम हर चीज पे इफ यू स्टार्ट क्राइंग ब्लड, आई मीन यू नो, द प्रॉब्लम इज यू आर अ $4 trillion इकोनॉमी. यू हैव टू स्टार्ट बिहेविंग लाइक.
true that but I think the concern which is coming from is from the national security perspective, given that how Pakistan is also trying to
Yeah.
again embed itself within the establishment in Bangladesh, and of course Americans are already there. Second, Americans are sort of becoming very active in the Indian Ocean region, and that is again detrimental to us. And third, when it comes to Nepal, Nepal has always been a region where a lot of unlawful activities have taken,
Yeah.
and still, it is being taken
Yeah.
by our adversaries, to ensure that we remain mired in national security issues.
I think what's
So,
important to realize, Vidur, is that okay, I'm not defending the American interest. Let's be very
yeah, yeah,
clear.
yeah. No, no,
But one has to
not.
realize that it is not necessarily targeted against India, right?
Acha. Okay,
If you
okay.
think about it very carefully, this
Hmm.
is an encirclement of our next door adversary in a way.
That is true. That is true. China, they want to stop
This has
China.
become very important strategic vantage points for
Yep.
even potential future military action should a need arise.
Even the need arises. But again, I mean, from the Indian perspective, what do you
Of
think?
course,
India,
we should be uncomfortable because it has not necessarily been done in consultation with probably the Indian establishment. But then, are you ready to make that commitment?
yeah, because I mean, there's a very interesting point you made because I sometimes think that they were expecting India to do some stuff,
Exactly.
but we don't want to play that game because again we have a very bilateral we follow the bilateralism policy,
Exactly.
with our neighbors, and
Exactly.
we don't want to be a third party, or we don't want to be an agent of sort,
Yeah.
of someone
See,
to
we
ensure that
had
they
a
find
very good platform in BIMSTEC.
in
It is
BIMSTEC.
an
Yeah.
excellent platform in the name of BIMSTEC. Where is BIMSTEC right? The Prime
Nothing.
Minister gave a letter congratulating its 10th anniversary, blah, blah, blah.
SARC is already dead.
SAC died.
SARC was,
India killed SAC, India moved to BIMSTEC.
yeah,
Now, even
yeah,
BIMSTEC is lying moribund effective.
moribund. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We
It
are
has
not
become
able to
moribund.
go beyond what we were. We made such big talk. We had such big talk, and there were some very exciting things that started taking up. But after the Gen Z uprising in both Nepal and Bangladesh and Nepal rather in the order, and even Sri Lanka, we've not moved further on any of those promises so far.
Right. So,
I'll just
so.
give you an example. India,
Hmm.
Sri Lanka, we were supposed to build a transmission network, but it's been in cold storage for at least a year now. After Mr. Anura Dissanayke's government came to power,
Oh,
I mean, it's not moving anywhere, and the project was almost ready in terms of the financing closure to be achieved from our side and their side. There was lots of things done to cover the ground. Bangladesh, it has its problems in giving us payments for power, but I mean, they have a lot of appetite for power from India. We could have sold more power. None of that is moving forward. Trilateral power trade. That means India being the center, Nepal selling some power to Bangladesh. It happened for just one day. उसके बाद कुछ नहीं हुआ. So ऐसा भी नहीं है कि कुछ मतलब we are not necessarily giving subtle hints about things. But the
Hmm.
point is that if you're not able to fulfill on the promises, your constituencies in these countries become very weak.
Got it. So do you think but I just want to make another point, but the way US is hitting India with tariffs, you are seeing this whole FI is going away from Indian markets. Now there is a genuine reason for that, because again AI is
Hmm.
becoming has become a thing. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
and given that it's a fourth industrial revolution which is on the
Hmm.
horizon, which is
Yes.
currently ongoing. So those countries who adapt to it faster, they will have much better position in future. And in that, Japan, Taiwan is really, these both countries are really doing well, and a lot of money is flowing into that direction from India and from other countries. Now uh, now with tariffs, and with Indians being getting targeted, okay, Indian diaspora getting targeted, H1B issues, which is being propped up by the Trump administration in every interval. Recently, also has something happened. Some individual member has brought a bill
Hmm.
to close the H1B program.
Yeah.
Okay, for certain category of
Yeah.
individuals.
Yeah.
Now I'm sort of confused why we should be bothered about H1B, because that is something which is a decision of USA. I think what it should motivate for us to do is that we are retaining talent in our home, building industries in our home, and this could be a silver lining to do that.
Agreed.
The other way to look at it, okay, fine. The doors of Western civilization is getting closed.
Hmm.
It would remain open for those who are like super talented, like uh, you know uh, excellent in their field or masters in their field, maybe, which
Agreed.
was the case
Agreed.
during 60s and 70s, by the way.
Hmm. Sort of.
Okay, but not for the general population, not for everyone, not for every average person, you know, which started going from 2000 onwards, especially post 2010.
Yeah.
Lot of migration has happened, lot of people. So that is coming close to an end. So it should sort of provide us a silver lining. Okay, fine, we need to make sure that we are retaining
Hmm.
talent in our home, and this is a golden opportunity for us, because we want to
Agreed.
become a next level economy. You want to become a $10 trillion economy. You want to become a
It's
Vikasit
such
Bharat
a
by
good thing that
47.
exactly. It's such a good thing you flagged, Vidur, because what is happening interestingly is that if you see more and more capability centers are opening up in India, global
Yeah,
capabilities.
yeah, global, yeah,
The,
GCCs, yeah.
the growth rate has only accelerated in the last 3 years. Now, a lot of these, and I'm a little positive on this, that they will be able to absorb some of the labor that might be forced to move out due to the H1B loan restrictions that are there. And frankly, it is America's loss more than anybody else's, because H1B did something very critical for them, which was to keep the wages low for very highly technical skilled people. Now that the
Hmm.
program will close down, they will not be able to do that, and a lot of those programs will get offshore eventually.
Hmm.
A lot of those
Hmm.
initiatives will get offshore, and so yeah.
Hmm.
As an
Hmm.
example, I don't know if you know this, India is a superpower when it comes to semiconductor design.
Oh, okay, interesting. I
And
didn't know that,
entirely in
honestly.
India, in out of Bangalore and Hyderabad. People don't know this.
It is not getting highlighted, unfortunately.
Nah,
That's the
and then
problem.
we get abused a lot, but we have the designing capabilities. What we needed was the manufacturing. So yeah, I mean,
Now we are trying to do that as
yeah.
well. We are
Yeah.
trying to do that as well.
I
In
think
I
there
think
are
in
good results coming up, not just in terms of international companies coming to it, but even some very interesting startups out of Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, coming up with something. There's a very interesting company that's developed its own indigenous chip. So
no.
fascinating stuff going on. Of course, scale. I mean, in India, everything needs scale, and that's where the frustration comes into an extent. But yeah,
Yeah,
things are
given the huge population, given the demands of the economy right now, and the hungerness which people have,
Exactly.
They really want to have a better life.
Exactly. Because
Uh,
Indians have
uh,
become aspirational for a change.
hmm, hmm.
They're not just
Yeah,
insular looking, they have become aspirational. They want a better life. They want
right,
a better
right.
house. They want a better car.
Better car,
They want better incomes. They want their children to study in better schools.
right.
So there is an ambition. There is an ambition to go somewhere.
Yeah,
And if you add that into the way the Americans are hitting us with tariffs, and frankly, I mean, we should be ready, we should be, taking it the way whatever happens. And for a very simple reason. They don't want the global order, so why are we even bothered about the global order anymore?
yeah. That is true. I think that realization is not dawning upon our
I
bureaucrats
think,
or the
especially in,
MEA.
I would say not our bureaucrats necessarily. I think it is not dawning upon the people who matter, the voices that matter within India. There is this misplaced belief even now that the global economic order, the global rules-based order
Rules
have.
based order. Yeah,
Frankly, they don't.
yeah. No, they don't. It
They don't.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, when you have US State of Secretary coming in on television and
Exactly.
saying that, like, we want to we want to remain in Western Hemisphere, we want to secure Western Hemisphere for us. It doesn't matter what is happening. But of course, as you said, you know, that they want to do it in their
See,
own terms,
very
and they are ensuring.
recently, yeah, very recently when Donald Trump went to China, the real reason for going to China was, I think, something that was in continuation with what Barack Obama had tried, which was the G2 system, basically a modern day Treaty of Westphalia, if you think about it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But having seen where China has literally left them behind on so many fronts, and the fact that the Chinese were absolutely non-committal to any of the proposals that the Americans floated, there was a huge reality check that they also got. That was one of the reasons why a lot of people are actually saying that Marco Rubio was literally thrown on a plane and sent to New Delhi to
Yeah.
assuage a lot of hurt bureaucrats.
But it didn't pan
Oh,
out the way it should
even
have
he
been.
got a cold shoulder, to say the least,
Yeah, yeah,
despite being here for a week
yeah.
and meeting the prime minister for a very brief interval. And there are
But
also
unfortunately,
reports of the national security advisor giving him an earful on many things.
yeah.
But putting all that aside, I think it's also the case. I think Deekwan used to say it very nicely. Even Vladimir Putin put it very nicely recently. Ancient civilizations behave more mature.
Hmm.
America is a child when it comes to countries like China or India or even Russia for that matter.
Yeah, even Iran as well now.
Yeah. So their childishness cannot be the driving factor for anything anymore. I think that's where the maturity of countries and civilizations is coming forward. It's beyond a clash of civilizations now. It is essentially more about, of course, the clash of civilizations was something totally different in terms of the context it was used. But by clash of civilizations, what I mean is that the way of thinking or the way you perceive the world around you. So you have to think the fundamental difference between the way the Western world thinks and the Eastern sphere thinks.
Right, right.
The Eastern sphere is about harmony.
Yeah, about
Okay.
balance, about harmony.
There's this Chinese philosopher who is on Instagram these days giving very interesting contrasts between Eastern and Western philosophy. I forget his name. He put out this video of why a dragon is seen as an evil thing in the West, but was always seen as a noble thing in China.
Interesting.
Because in the Eastern sphere, you're taught to, have harmony of power with social responsibilities.
Yes,
In the
yes.
West, you conquer power for your own
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah.
So that fundamental disconnect has finally come to the fore, and in a manner that there is now probably no or very little room for reconciliation.
Hmm.
And the war, I mean, I wouldn't say war, but the Cold War has already been there between China. The new Cold War started in 2021 between China and the US.
Absolutely. Absolutely, it is ongoing.
And
And
we have decided to be a multilateral player. Why would anybody, bother about the way we deal with them? Eventually, multilateralism is just another word for transactional behavior. If
yeah,
you are not important enough to anyone from an economic perspective or a security perspective, nobody will bother to be
nobody
to
will
give
bother me. Yeah.
you credence.
And in fact,
We get a
David,
lot of
David,
people cry, unfortunately, on a lot of things like the lack of response on Operation Sindoor or the Pahalgam attack that preceded it, and some of it was fair. I will not dispute that, but let's be real. I think we have to realize that we are in a world where we have to trudge our own path,
right?
and we do things for our own interests and don't. We are not necessarily. I think if you look at the fact that the government of India very consciously stopped using the term Vishwaguru a few years back, if you realize,
I totally agree with this. There's less chatter about it. PM is also not sort of
he never uses it anywhere in the world or in the
anywhere.
domestic side.
Yep, 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 yep. He has
And I think
stopped
that's a
using it.
very that shows a lot about the way the Indian government has also pivoted a few years back. So we should be actually happy with the fact that the Indian government has realized every relation is transactional in nature, and you have to make sure that we have issues with China, mind you, but we are now talking to China to celebrate 1,000 years of Yuan Chang.
Oh
I don't know if you know this.
no, I
There's
didn't. I didn't know. We are
both
going to
India and
commemorate
China
an
have
event
actually taken this issue jointly to the United Nations to celebrate 1,000 years of that great landmark that happened in history
in
of
history
mankind.
of India, and yeah,
So
very interesting.
we will it's a transactional thing to an extent if you think about it, and
So
big civilizations behave with each other in a civilized manner, to put it lightly.
you made a very important point, actually. When you are conducting multilateralism, okay, and when we say multilateralism, it means that you are dealing with each. We are dealing with a particular country on your own terms. You're not allowing any other
Exactly.
person to come in and to chip in for
Yeah.
you, okay, or be a broker between you and the other country.
Exactly.
Right. So don't expect if any event happens within your periphery. Don't expect if any let's say any terror activities happens in our
Hmm.
country for people to come in and say and condemn it
Exactly.
outrightly,
Exactly.
because they will say, oh fine, you are dealing with me bilaterally, and you
Exactly.
have right. And I think our MEA has also a lot of times have also said in many forums, saying that Europe's problem is not world's problem. So I
Exactly.
think that something makes very clear that India do not consider every issue which happens in the world to be its own issue.
Exactly. And I
It's
think
see,
it's fair
it's
to be in that position. And
yeah,
also
true.
then be ready for it. See, problem with India is that we are still believing that, see, China and Pakistan's relation, if you think about it carefully, is at its worst right now.
Yep.
तो पहाड़ों से ऊंची, समुद्र से भी गहरी,
Yeah.
शहद से भी दोस्ती, all that rhetoric has gone into the dustbin.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yet they are dealing with each other
They are, they are, they
in
are,
a big.
they are still.
The point is to continue imagining genuine friendships, emotional relationships, so to speak. That era is gone. That's gone. And if you want to be a real hard power, you have to behave in a transactional manner.
Yeah, I think a lot of times we are very emotional about these things.
Exactly.
Indians are encoded very emotional, in a very emotional way,
Exactly.
uh,
Exactly.
and I think
This is
there's
what
this fear.
causes the problem for us in the first place.
Yeah, yeah, true that, true that. It causes problem for us.
Oh,
Uh,
gee, oh, साडा साथ नहीं देता. Don't. Let's stop it. Okay.
right.
country will look at you as a country from the perspective of what you bring to the table for them.
What do you bring to
Even
the
your
table? Yeah.
neighbors will do that to you.
Yeah, true that. What you are willing to give to others.
Exactly.
If it is any sort of relation, it is whether it is a bilateral or whether it is in a particular block. Like for example, in Quad has become dormant, and
Okay.
India don't want to commit. They basically we don't want to overcommit to it. We want it to remain more from a trade and shipping, from the shipping lanes perspective,
Exactly.
securing our shipping lanes, and from the trade perspective we want to be a part of it, but from the security perspective we
Mhm.
don't want to, not at all, because unfortunately, I mean, sorry, not unfortunately, but we don't want to be look like uh, getting involved with someone and have a very anti-Chinese position, and in a time when we are recalibrating our relationship with China,
Exactly.
because
See,
I
if China
remember.
is across the line from us, US is
Yeah,
three
yeah,
and a
it's our
half
neighbor. It's our
I
neighbor.
think
We will be the first one.
US is 50,000 kilometers away.
Yeah, I mean, we will be the first one to deal with it, right?
Exactly.
It's just across the border.
And
A huge,
we may
again,
have a lot of
another.
problems with the ruling dispensation of China. Frankly, for the people of China, we are nobody to. We're not even
Yeah,
important enough to be part of their discourse. So
yeah.
let's be realistic about how people are viewing us and
I
also be
think, I
realistic
think,
about how we view them.
I think. Do you agree with this position where people say that, like in West, again, West has a very, the thinking is very silo in manner. Like they are
Siloed,
very
binary,
binary.
not
Yeah, I mean,
not nuanced enough ever. Agree?
so whenever they talk about China, they talk about, oh, no, if Chinese become powerful, or I mean, they're already powerful, but if China sort of becomes let's say one of the two major powers, one of the major bloc, it will ensure a tributary from other countries. And I think that that's not necessary, because I don't see that is happening, because the kind of, and mind you, under Belt and Road Initiative, okay, the things which Chinese have done for Africa, Americans
Undoubtedly.
have done zero, except giving them. I mean, Europe and Western powers have given them only pain, lot of corruption, civil wars, okay, and lot of killings, and a lot of disturbances. Chinese have
More.
given them infra, Chinese have
Yeah.
given them rail, Chinese have given
Even
them
if there is
modern tech.
debt diplomacy, they've done something for them, which the Americans never did.
Yeah, which they have never does. And debt trap also, where there was this saying that, there's this debt trap diplomacy which Chinese are doing with these countries. Now, if they don't have anything to give to them in a tangible manner, what the hell they will take? Of course, they
At
will
the
ask for a stake in a project. Of course, they will ask for a stake from the revenue which is coming out of the
cost
project. I
of
mean,
founding China Psycho Fund, let me put it this way: the aid trap that the Americans and the Europeans set up, where they would give money
yeah.
to buy their food grains, was not a trap, debt trap for them. But what the Chinese have done is a debt trap. You see the hypocrisy here.
Yeah, I know. I mean, total
They
hypocrisy. And I think
Americans literally killed farming in Africa just so that they could sell their damn shitty rice to the Africans, their corn to the Africans.
also what happened with Punjab, nobody
Exactly,
wants to talk about it. Who did that?
exactly.
Yeah, interesting. Coming on to a last topic of our of the day, sir. So, you know, I see a lot of, you are witnessing this news of a lot of FIIs going away, and due to AI, due to another factor. So AI is one of the major factor, and the another reason was the tax structure. You know, the capital gain, how the capital gains tax were levied by the government on the foreign investors, and there are other parts to it.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
uh, and suddenly, like I think 6 months back, the atmosphere was a very very hopeful that India
Hmm.
is the only performing economy. It is the only economy where you can get a growth. Okay, a large economy, by the way, and India is the only markets which can provide you with the money. But suddenly, in these past 1 month, you are seeing this again gloom and doom scenario where where people are saying, oh, no, a lot of money has went out. Genuine crisis has come up, where you are seeing witnessing a
No
currency
doubt, no doubt.
crisis.
Yeah.
But again, that is happening because first, unfortunately, USA is at your tail.
Hmm.
Second, unfortunately, we are missing the AI bus. Or maybe we'll come to that bus at a later point of time, on our own terms, because America has its own model, China has its
Yeah.
own model of it, right? So we can't replicate them. We want to have our own model, right? So maybe we are still brainstorming on that. What could be that model? Okay. Nevertheless, it means that we are sort of slow in AI race,
Hmm.
uh, and not catching up the way we should have done, and that's the reason why the capital is flying away from India to another shores, especially Taiwan and Japan. Uh,
Good
so
point.
yeah, so in that sense, how do you read this room? Because the same issue was faced by Congress in their tenure, in the second tenure.
To an
When we
extent.
became Fragile Five.
Yeah. I don't know
Of
what's
course,
going on.
the same
I believe.
condition is not there,
Yeah.
the because the fundamentals are quite strong
Hmm.
currently within this government. Some structural reforms have is benefiting us, and a lot of domestic investors are sort of investing in the market. A lot of in the equity markets and the markets. So,
Yeah.
given this whole scenario, what do you think? What's the real picture? Is it gloom or doom,
Real
or
picture
is it
is somewhere
hopeful,
in
or is it
between.
in between? Okay.
I think it's somewhere in between. I think pessimism, there is, okay, we have a habit of hyperventilating when it comes to being pessimistic in this country. And this is a historical, social, cultural problem of India to an extent. If I
Yeah.
call it, I don't want to use the very colloquial Hindi phrase because it sounds very derogatory, but you, I think, get the gist. Adat hai hamari.
Okay, I got it. I got it. Yeah.
Okay, I think I will not say that in my personal view, and this is just my personal view, strictly, I think the government has
Yeah.
handled it fairly well so far. See, currency depreciation is being made a big point, and frankly, it's a political brownie point at best. Anybody who has any sense of economics knows currency depreciation is nonsensical as a talking point to understand an economy. By your logic, the Afghan is still pegged at $2, two like 100,000 Afghan to one USD, and it should have been just 200 million or something like that. है ना?
Yeah.
So these numbers are nonsensical; they have no value whatsoever. What is important to understand is whether we are able to address the reasons why we are facing some of the headwinds that we are right now.
Hmm.
As an investor market, there were some questions. I think we are trying to address them somewhat suitably. Long way to go. There's always something left to be desired from a capital
Yeah.
market, investment market,
Yeah.
financial market perspective. See, problem is India is unable to, despite the gift city or Mumbai, uh, become a major regional financial hub. Forget being the global financial hub. Right?
Hmm.
Until we are not able to become even a regional financial hub, we are not having something like a Hong Kong. We still don't have something like a Shanghai. We
Right.
still don't have something like a Singapore,
Yeah.
right?
Tokyo as well. Tokyo
Or
is
Tokyo,
massive financially. Yeah.
right? We are not able to create that that kind of financial center still.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
And that has been a fundamental challenge. And I think the fact the government tried the gift city experiment was proof of the fact that they understand the value of that in ensuring capital flows remain stable and incremental in nature.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There are various reasons why it has not worked out, and it's not that the government is not trying, but as I always say, the pace leaves things to be desired. But that those are the pitfalls, or you can say the limitations that our political setup also brings to the table, which
Yeah,
is fine.
yeah,
I think what is also important to understand is that the Indian government is readily understanding the fact that energy security is foreign policy now.
right. True that, because
And
the
we've
West
been
Asia
working on it
war.
for the last few years, no doubt.
Yeah,
But I think the pace of acceleration in that domain really took off around, say, 2017, 16, 17, when for the first time our renewable energy targets, for instance, in the power sector were raised. We were originally targeting just 22 gigawatt of solar generation capacity, not exactly electricity generation capacity addition.
yeah,
It was raised to 100 gigawatt.
yeah.
Then we put RE to 500 gigawatt, and we have already almost achieved it. We have very ambitious targets even going forward from a climate objective as well. But
Hmm.
climate objective is a bigger thing. It also helps us bring energy security to an extent. There are dependencies that have been created in the process. We are trying to address those dependencies fairly well. I think
Hmm.
we are on. I think the power sector, at least the generation side, is very well managed. Even the distribution side is well managed.
Yeah. I mean,
Our problem starts with petrochemicals for our industrial processes.
hmm.
That is where oil and gas hits our country a lot.
Yeah. A lot of
Not just
import bill.
for thermal purposes, that also, of course, is an issue because natural gas is what we were trying to go forward with and has been a problem. And unfortunately, the US has not been a reliable enough partner on that front for us as a country.
Yeah.
Even though India has expressed many a times that they would be willing to buy more gas from America, more oil from America, the Biden administration had conveniently shut down all production in that 4 year period. So even if Trump now wants to revive it, it will take at least 2.5 years to get anything substantial flowing anywhere.
Oh.
And we that has, which is why if you realize, every few months the US administration eventually is forced to give concessions in terms of where oil can be bought by certain countries, can be bought from certain countries by certain countries, right? You can buy from Iran, you can buy from Venezuela, you can buy from XYZ, Russia, right? You see these exemptions coming every few months, right? The
Yeah.
reason is because it is not just about India, it is also about the key ally partners of the US, like Korea or Japan. They're also suffering.
Yeah. They also. Yeah. True that.
It's not just us, mind you. Every major developed economies are suffering.
Yes. Europe, in fact, no, nobody's talking about Europe, the kind of
Exactly.
suffering they are going through now.
Why,
Because
how
Russia
are they
was,
even
because
passing the
for them,
winters for the last,
because,
how are the winters happening for the last 2 years without sufficient gas? God knows, honestly.
and Russia, I mean, they were getting cheap oil and gas from Russia. Okay. And now you have to, purchase it from USA and Canada,
Exactly.
and now Venezuela, of course. You know, and for us, it's sort of a bad deal because of the cost structure does not fit
Because
into
shipping
our
cost was,
calculation. Yeah,
the
the
shipping
shipping
cost is very
cost.
high.
Yeah, the shipping cost is very high, very high. And
See,
then
we
and
even
then
tried doing some from Guyana, in fact, many few years back. But
hmm,
even Guyana is a major producer of oil. Suriname, Guyana, but we were not
yeah,
able to get anything done because it was very difficult. The shipping cost, logistic cost is too high for us even now.
too high for us. Yeah, and that's the reason why Russia makes so much sense. Why Middle East made so much sense for us, but
Exactly.
unfortunately, Middle East currently, the whole region is on fire. But of course,
Exactly. And side
but I
effect,
see,
I think
but
that fire is not going to go down anytime, come down anytime soon. Not going to
but
quell anytime.
do you agree with one thing? I don't know why, but I think Iran is sort of in a weak position now. I
See,
don't know.
even if I wrote this sometime back, even if a peace deal gets achieved, and that was when everybody was saying a peace deal has been achieved and blah 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 blah
Yeah,
blah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
When I wrote this. I don't think there is really a winner in this whole conflict.
Hmm.
US will lose a lot of face, but Iran has literally lost its economy in the process.
Yeah, it is losing its economy, and I think the only gainer in this I see is Israel.
And again,
Uh,
I don't think even they gained anything out of the whole process. Right?
not now, not now. But if this Iran regime goes away, then maybe they will be a huge
I think
benefactor of it.
yes, and also to an extent, what happens to the Prime Minister of Israel? Let's just say put it to that.
Yeah,
But again, I think our problem is that we have a lot of industries very dependent on gas for their thermal requirements, or also for feedstock requirements. I think a
yeah,
lot of people have not appreciated enough of the fact that Middle East was also a major fertilizer producer for us. Okay,
yes, yes,
and
yes,
it is actually hurting our agriculture right now.
yes,
We
yes.
are a fairly resilient agricultural economy, no doubt
Hmm.
about it.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
think food, even if a bad monsoon comes now, shortage का issue नहीं है. The problem is that we will struggle if this continues for another year.
Yeah, because this government has managed the distribution when it comes to agriculture, the distribution part very well, the
Yeah,
warehousing part, the distribution part, the supply part.
yeah.
Now, what they
The
have to
fertilizer
manage
supply
is
has been a bit of a challenge this year. It's still somehow, at least, not
being managed.
precipitated to the
Yeah,
point of outright rioting on the streets so far.
right. अरे सर पहले तो अनाज सड़ जाते थे सर if you remember
Yeah, yeah.
the news which used to come, now that is
People
not happening. It's
even
not
see,
happening.
I also criticize a lot of the freebie culture, but
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
be practical about it. अनाज सड़ने से अच्छा तो किसी को खिला दो.
हाँ, देना ही बेटर है ना भाई, दे दो आप, कम से कम खाने के लिए तो होगा,
That
उससे
way, at least
प्रोडक्टिविटी
even
बढ़ेगी.
your godowns free up. ठीक है?
Yep,
Your
yep,
godowns
yep.
are
Your godowns get free. So your godowns are getting free up.
yeah,
People are having food on their plate.
exactly.
Due to that, the productivity will rise. कुछ तो काम करेगा, ठीक है.
Exactly. कुछ तो करना
कुछ तो
पड़ेगा ना
काम
फिर.
करेगा, कुछ तो करना पड़ेगा, ठीक है. At least they
Exactly.
have energy to do something. Okay,
Exactly.
so that makes our rural economy resilient, or make sure that at least a poor has something on their plate.
Yeah, yeah.
Rather than tons and tons of uh, agriculture goods getting
Exactly.
washed off in rain or due to any climatic conditions. And I think
And
the major
biggest
part this
challenge as
government has
I
to
see it,
manage now
हाँ बोलो.
is on the
Hmm.
is on the supply side of the fertilizer. That needs to be managed now. Now, how they ensure it, because the pain will come next year, not this year, but next year. Uh, so I think that's something which this government needs to manage. And how do they manage it?
I think
Uh,
one thing that you might have noticed is that three things have happened in recent years. One, the government has been trying to revive the old shut down fertilizer plants across India. Most of them are urea plants. Okay. But at
hmm,
least we're
hmm,
trying to
hmm.
revive it. Urea is not the issue necessarily in India. The real issue comes to phosphatic fertilizers, the other specialty fertilizers.
The other
We are trying
specific,
to
yeah,
do something. If you notice the coal gasification scheme that has come up on a massive scale in India, we are finally doing something that we should have done at least 5 years back. At least 5 years. चलो देर है दुरुस्त है, but we are doing it, and I think that will help us. I think it has been realized that it is not just about energy; it is actually more about this security on the food systems part of the
hmm,
economy, the
yeah,
agriculture part of the economy, and even for a lot of industries where you use petrol, these natural gas, these oils, different fractions of the petroleum crude for manufacturing of things like plastics. People
yeah.
don't realize how difficult it will become for the plastic industry if you don't have the feedstock. And we are a huge plastic producer by India. We're not a small plastic producer by any stretch.
Oh, very
Import,
interesting.
but even then, we have a huge plastic production in matlab, capacity in India. Everything is plastic, na?
Yeah, true.
Almost.
Everything is plastic. Most of them. True, true.
So how will you? So you have to start preparing. We are trying to do that. Pace again. I will not say, but silver lining अच्छी है हमारी. And on a, so ये agriculture की बात हुई. Now I think the problem is our exports got hit in the Middle East because our 15%, 10 to 15% of all our exports generally go to the Middle East. अभी वो
Yeah.
market हमारी shake हो गई है unfortunately
Hmm.
because जान बचाए कि खरीदें, right?
Yeah, yeah, true that, true that. But again, you have a lot of Indian diaspora living in the Middle East, so that becomes sort of a captive a captive population there, and I think
Yes.
that will sort of force us to do something about it and ensure that
See, let's be
that
clear. There's
exports
a
does
major
not get hurt.
recession. देखो बहुत बड़ा recession is hitting the Middle East now. ठीक है?
Hmm.
A lot of Indians will also be jobless. They will have to come back. Let's be very clear
Do
about
you
it.
really think? I mean, I'm not seeing such gloomy scenario in Middle East, especially in
नहीं,
Dubai.
I'm not saying कि वो इतना gloomy भी है, but काफी
Hmm.
बड़े scale पे हो रहा है. ठीक है? I
Okay.
know people have been fired, especially
Okay.
across many of the oil and gas companies. वो हो रहा है इस समय.
Oil and gas. Yeah, that makes
वो
sense
sector
also
बहुत बुरी तरह
because
hit हुआ है.
that makes sense because Iran was very smart to hit the oil and
Basically
gas
hit हुआ
infra.
है petrochemical industry वहाँ पे
हाँ,
काफी.
पेट्रोकेमिकल इंडस्ट्री उन्होंने पेट पे लात मारी है बेसिकली या you know I mean whatever happens the first
Method to the
countries
madness, kudos to them.
yeah kudos to them, yeah, true that, but it is the first country that hit is it is Kuwait and then
Yeah.
Bahrain,
And even
these two
Qatar, they
countries.
destroyed the entire gas economy of Qatar.
Yeah, oh अच्छा entire gas economy of Qatar.
जितना भी कतर ने इन्वेस्टमेंट किया था, their minister was on record ना that we made 10-12 billion dollars of investment over so many years in developing a gas economy. हमारे losses उससे भी ज्यादा है.
अरे बाप रे, बट देन इसलिए वहां पे भागे ना ये लोग to make sure that there is no
हाँ,
more
exactly,
attacks on them. Yeah, true
exactly.
that,
But yeah,
true
I
that.
mean, let's. I mean, but moving back to what is happening for India,
Yeah.
I think crisis is opportunity. We are very good at
Hmm.
it somehow. So the good thing is that we are also realizing that okay, we had actually started making these bilateral treaties, trade agreements with so many countries. So अपन ने market तो खोल ली कई country पर.
Hmm.
We have
Hmm.
opened major market. Pivoting takes time.
Pivoting
Yeah,
takes time. Yeah, yeah,
pivoting
yeah.
takes
It won't happen overnight.
and you also have to deal with new kinds of regulations everywhere. As an example, the textile industry now US given all that rubbish that's happening with the so Europe is the natural choice, and we had an FTA in place.
Yeah.
The good thing is, and this is something that you can see on policy sites, etc. The Ministry of Textiles, sometime last year, started working with the industry in greening the industry. Now, what do you mean by greening the industry? This is a smart thing because the European environmental regulations end up becoming a non-tariff barrier in a big
Okay.
for our products.
Hmm.
Okay, so we are now preparing our industry to become eligible to do these things with Europe
Hmm.
more easily. It's not कि
Okay.
जाता नहीं है, but the volume needs to expand. So we are helping our industry on
Hmm.
say chemical dyes, for instance, or intermediates that you're using. So we are moving in that direction. Government is putting money where its mouth is at least. So we are
Yeah.
doing a good thing. Yeah, we are. I think we will be. And for instance, shrimp farming. US put a big moratorium on importing shrimp from India.
Yeah.
Mind you, Andhra Pradesh is India's largest shrimp producer. A huge number of people depend on shrimp farming, including the supply chain part. Okay, we were able to actually divert our exports to Australia and China to some extent.
Okay. Hmm.
So it's not that we are not able to do it. See, you have to give credit to our entrepreneur community. Entrepreneurs as well. They're smart people who कर लेते हैं. It's
Hmm.
just that, of course, an unpredictable business environment makes it difficult.
Makes it
But
difficult.
a lot
Yeah.
of these trends were anyway long term in nature. So we have been preparing for them decently well. It's
Hmm.
just that जैसे बोलते हैं ना, there's just some oregano sprinkled on the margarita pizza with the oil crisis right now. Even
Hmm.
that will go away in another 3 or 4 months. Will it? I think the key question from me personally is: will it create the big enough push or a permanent enough push that all the decisions we've taken in light of the energy problem will be permanent solutions and we will not lapse back to the status quo again?
Status quo. Hmm.
I think that is the fundamental question we all need an answer for. Because unfortunately, we have a bad habit in this country of falling back on status quo situations when all becomes hunky dory.
Yeah, it happened with textiles when it comes to vis-a-vis
Happened with
Bangladesh.
textiles, Even you look at the way when you mentioned UPA too, there were things were not bad necessarily for India.
Yeah, it was.
Global
It,
perspective.
it was getting, actually, they were trying to improve the situation, and in 2013 the situation got massively improved also.
Exactly.
But of course, the perception matters in politics a lot.
Exactly.
Okay, so just your closing comments, on this. Uh, what is your view of uh, any blunder being committed by the current dispensation in the government, which they may have to pay a price for? Okay, and second, UP elections are coming close, and I'm hearing from someone, and you also know him, of course, that there are chances of UP elections getting preponed to this year,
Hmm.
because the current party expect that there is a possibility that the crisis may become much more graver next year, and they don't want to take any chances. So, just these 2 points. First is what blunder they are committing, and second, on the UP elections.
I think the only big blunder necessary. See, छोटी मोटी चीजें सब जगह चलती हैं, ठीक है? Nothing is
Yeah,
perfect in the system.
yeah, nothing is perfect. True that, true that,
You
true
can
that.
always upgrade. But I think the messaging of the government, especially when it came to the way the NEET exam or the CBSE
It's very bad.
paper, exam,
It's very bad.
very badly handled optically.
Very badly. अभी भी
That
कर
was
रहे हैं
very
वही.
badly
अभी भी
handled
मिस्टेक
optically.
कर रहे हैं लोग.
बहुत बड़ी mistake है, and it has actually caused genuine disaffection amongst especially the very people who they supposedly were representative of to a large extent.
Yes, yes,
यूथ में बीजेपी गवर्नमेंट जो एनडीए गवर्नमेंट है उसकी बहुत कैच है.
yep.
लेट्स बी वेरी क्लियर. Even if they have anger or they don't agree with them on all issues, they are very clear. This is the only government that is sensible enough right now to be in power. Only bunch
Yes,
of
yes,
people.
yes, yes, yes,
So
yes,
you
yes.
don't
True that.
anger them. You at least be more sympathetic to them. And unfortunately, जो party के अंदर जो control, it seems there is some loss of control within the party on what people are supposed to do, because randomly people were being students who were complaining were being called anti-nationals and God knows what all. So it backfired very
That's,
badly. Backfired very badly,
yeah,
let me tell you.
yeah. I
As
think
for the
that they have this very very bad habit of when there is some real genuine
the way
criticism.
past the shelf life, let's talk. Let's be very
Yeah,
way past the shelf life. See, yeah, Cockroach Janata Party, whatever it was, कोई नहीं आया ना.
nothing यार, कुछ नहीं था वो.
But mind you, anger is genuine.
Anger is genuine. Yeah, no, I'm
बट
not
उनको भी
at all
पता है कि
questioning
कचरा
that.
लोग हैं इनके साथ, उनका मानना है ये कचरा लोग हैं, वी विल नॉट गो टुवर्ड्स.
हाँ, उनको पता है ये क्या है. It was for a soft launch for RAP. It was nothing else.
एग्जैक्टली, दे
So
डोंट
they
बॉदर.
knew the intention. They want to
हाँ
hijack
मतलब
the.
वही वो ओल्ड वाइन इन न्यू बॉटल हो गया ना.
Yeah, 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 yeah. They just want to hijack the moment, and they
एग्जैक्टली.
failed. They spectacle, and that's the reason no other opposition parties also, gave sort of a
Because they
voice to
also
them,
saw that
right?
it was a stillborn.
Yeah, the
They
Congress also
realized
was
it was
silent on it. Congress also
एग्जैक्टली
was
खुद तो हुए
totally
ना.
silent on it. Totally silent on it.
उल्टा कांग्रेस ने तो बहुत अच्छा किया, बिकॉज कांग्रेस नीड्स टू रियलाइज दैट इट कैनॉट बी सपोर्टिंग एवरी टॉम डिक एंड हैरी एट द कॉस्ट ऑफ इट्स ओन ग्रोथ.
Yeah, true
I
that,
think
true that.
for
Delhi,
a change they made the right sane political decision.
they suffered in Delhi. They suffered in
एग्जैक्टली.
Punjab.
क्या
True
मिला?
that.
कुछ नहीं मिला ना.
कुछ नहीं मिला, कुछ नहीं मिला. True that, true that, true, true. And
All
I
this
think that's
UP
the reason why I think they sort of chose to go with TVK in Tamil Nadu, because now
exactly.
they think that
They have
DMK
been
is sort of
pragmatic,
a
and I think
liability.
at some level we should be happy that they've been pragmatic,
Hmm.
because whatever being the scene, there was enough problems created by the previous government of Tamil Nadu to have precipitated a serious social crisis in the state
Yeah.
on every
Yeah.
front.
Yep. Yep. I think
Drug
Tamil
abuse,
Nadu
substance
people.
abuse, and drug abuse, alcoholism, crime, law and order, serious problems were there.
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah, serious problems. Yeah, yeah. Lot of videos are coming out of Tamil Nadu
it's,
where,
this is a very, by and large, this is a decently peaceful state. And you've literally posted into chaos for no reason just to score few brownie points politically. That is what the previous government did. And in a way, it's good that the Congress has decided to dissociate itself from that.
hmm,
How long that government lasts, nobody can say. But at least I think it's a good start for the change.
how do they perform? How do they basically this
Perform
TV?
तो क्या करेंगे? You can't promise gold, 8 grams gold to every woman in Tamil Nadu. Come on. And a Saudi and everything else in the world. छोड़ो यार.
Do that, do that.
Because,
Uh,
anyway,
I mean, it's
but
something. It's something. I think.
let me answer your UP question. So
Yeah.
it's interesting you bring that point of an early election because there's also a lot of talk simultaneously are happening of postponing the election for the census reasons in Uttar Pradesh.
Oh, very interesting.
So
Okay.
there's a divide in the way clearly on what needs to be done from in the policy circles of the ruling party, both at the state and the central level. And देखो वही लोग जो सेंसस करेंगे वही इलेक्शन करवाते हैं जनरली स्टेट में. So same teachers and ये सारा काटा है तो
Right. Right. Right.
ये तो
Right.
दिक्कत है. It's a
Hmm.
genuine problem. BJP also has an issue because BJP has been the biggest loser in Uttar Pradesh of the SIR process.
Hmm.
उसी का वोट ज्यादा कटा है अर्बन एरियाज में it seems.
Interesting.
But numbers
Interesting.
seem to suggest that.
Yeah, because because again people have to go back and look for their records.
Eexactly.
You know,
और उत्तर प्रदेश
from
में तो वैसे ही
2002.
रिकॉर्ड कीपिंग बहुत ही बुरी
रिकॉर्ड
हालत
तो,
में.
हाँ, वो टाइम पे क्या रिकॉर्ड होता था? कुछ नहीं होता था यार, नथिंग.
Exactly.
ऐसे ही बनते थे बस. अब जाके हो रहा है तो भाई आपको अगर रिकॉर्ड नहीं मिला, यू आर आउट. You have to again
Exactly.
make freshly apply to it, then do the whole process of it, and then you will become an eligible voter.
Exactly.
I mean, it's crazy that people sort of got confused with SIR. They confused SIR with citizenship. Yeah, I mean, people have lost their mind seriously. God.
As a very famous law student who also is very active on Twitter, and you also know, Anant Krishna has repeatedly pointed out, voting is not a fundamental right in this country. It has nothing to do with citizenship also
The
necessarily.
citizenship, yeah. True that.
So, अब इतनी awareness नहीं है, can't help it.
और
Anyhow,
सीरियसली यार, मैं दंग रह गया, कि बॉस नहीं आया लिस्ट में नाम, ठीक है भाई, बनवा लेना यार, मिल
yeah,
जाएगा भाई, बन
exactly.
जाएगा तेरा
You
नया,
can
दे दे
always get your
रिकॉर्ड्स.
name added. Exactly, you can always get your name added now. There's nothing
या
stopping you
यू
from
कैन ऑलवेज गेट अ नेम एडेड. इनफैक्ट मेरा तो वोटिंग आईडी भी नहीं था सर.
it.
आई यूज्ड टू गो एंड चेक द इलेक्टोरल रोल्स. वहां पे जब नाम आता
Exactly.
था, देन आई यूज्ड टू
Exactly.
गेट अ स्लिप एंड देन आई यूज्ड टू गो फॉर अ वोट, यू नो.
नहीं वो भी
देन
है. इफ यू लुक एट हाउ थिंग्स हैव बीन फ्रैंकली जितना एसआईआर का शोर मचा के बंगाल में चिल्लम चिल्ली करी. हैव यू हर्ड एनीथिंग ऑफ दैट सॉर्ट फ्रॉम उत्तर प्रदेश येट?
नथिंग, नथिंग.
मोर वोटर्स हैव बीन डिलीटेड इन उत्तर प्रदेश देन बंगाल.
या नो, बिकॉज पीपल नो ना भाई, मेरे पास रिकॉर्ड ही नहीं है. लोगों को अपने डेट ऑफ बर्थ नहीं पता है, लोगों को अपनी एज नहीं पता
अरे
है.
या
ये
दैट्स
है
व्हाट
प्रॉब्लम सर, ये मेरे घर पे
यू हैव
प्रॉब्लम
टू
मैंने
पीक
देखी
इन.
है. बाकी तो छोड़ दो आप.
थोड़ा सा. या बट उत्तर प्रदेश में ऐसी प्रॉब्लम थोड़ी सी कॉम्प्लिकेटेड इसलिए भी है बिकॉज द बीजेपी इज नॉट नेसेसरली ऑन द स्ट्रॉन्गेस्ट फुट येट. ऐसा
हम्म.
मुझे
हम्म.
मे बी आई एम रीडिंग इट रॉन्ग.
ओके.
प्रॉब्लम कहाँ से आ रही है कि so BJP's allies, especially in Awadh and Eastern UP,
या.
they peaked long back
ओके.
in terms of what they could deliver for the BJP's alliance, the NDA
या.
alliance as well.
या.
And I don't see them achieving that peak again, at least 2027. What is the BJP supposed to do? That's a very difficult question to ask. जो छोटी छोटी पार्टीज जो 2% 3% वाली पार्टीज थी,
हाँ. हाँ.
सी अपना दल इज प्रैक्टिकली डेड राइट.
या.
द फैक्शन विद बीजेपी इट्स प्रैक्टिकली डेड.
ओके.
मतलब वो कुछ नहीं कर पाएगा. इट्स अ डेड डक फॉर नाउ. लेट्स अज्यूम इट दैट वे. द निषाद पार्टी इज ऑलरेडी पीक्ड. इवन वेस्टर्न यूपी में जो आरजेडी के साथ अलायंस है, आरजेडी आरएलडी के साथ, सॉरी,
आरएलडी, या.
उसके भी मतलब उतना ही रिटर्न आ सकता है एट द एंड ऑफ द डे.
हाँ, बिकॉज जाट्स आर ऑलरेडी वोटिंग फॉर यू. They
हाँ,
are
वो तो
directly
वैसे भी
voting
कर ही
for
रहे हैं,
you.
वो तो वैसे भी कर रहे हैं.
हाँ, वैसे भी कर ही रहे हैं वो.
It is basically a lifeline for R&D more than for the BJP,
Hmm.
for that more than any benefit for the BJP. तो वो तो है, लेकिन अब ये छोटी पार्टीज आपके लिए डिलीवर नहीं करी 2024 में, ये बहुत क्लियर हो गया था.
Hmm.
So that is where the problem starts for the BJP. Now, in BJP is not a party that just dumps its allies also.
Hmm.
अब ये देखने वाली बात होगी, how much of support does the BJP provides to its smaller partners financially, strategically, and also electorally.
Yeah.
What is BJP able to get them, boost them rather, so that the floor doesn't slip any further.
Any further? Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
क्योंकि क्या हुआ कि एसपी के भी जो अलाइज थे, अपना दल का एक फैक्शन एसपी के साथ भी खड़ा था ईस्टर्न यूपी में, रिकॉल, दे पुल्ड a lot of the Kurmi vote for them there.
Hmm. Very interesting. Very interesting.
और जैसे ही जो पासी वोट था, जो ये पार्टीज थी यहाँ पर सेंट्रल यूपी में, सेंट्रल अवध वाले रीजन में छोटी मोटी पार्टीज जो पासी वोट थी, अगेन पासी वोट शिफ्टेड अवे फ्रॉम द बीजेपी बिकॉज एसपी पुट अप कैंडिडेट्स.
Hmm. So lot of things will depend upon what kind of candidates they deploy, or you
Definitely,
know.
and there is a lot of talk that at least one third of the MLAs have to be dropped. Sitting MLAs have to
Oh.
be dropped by the BJP. That's a huge
Oh.
churn, mind you. 100 से ज्यादा एमएलएस को बाहर करना पड़ेगा
भागना पड़ेगा. Hmm.
बिकॉज उनके अगेंस्ट तो डिसकंटेंट बहुत ही ज्यादा है.
अच्छा.
एंड बीजेपी डजंट शाई अवे फ्रॉम डूइंग इट, माइंड यू. ठीक है,
हाँ, they have
बीजेपी
done
ने
it. They have
दे
done it.
वेरी
They have
बोल्ड
done
ऑन
it in
इट.
every state. They have done it. They learn. They learn. See, that's the thing. That's the thing with them. Na? They learn. They go get back to strategy room and they work out. I mean, Bengal, sir.
One
Bengal.
problem, though, that the BJP doesn't have an answer to right now, and I don't know how they will solve it, is there is serious allegations of sabotage by the government bureaucracy also against them.
Yes, 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 yes. I think
And
another
बहुत
point where
अच्छा
बीजेपी.
चौधरी का पावर सेक्टर में दिखता है अभी.
हाँ, करेक्ट. अभी भी लाइट का इशू हुआ था.
बहुत ज्यादा
Then
चल रहा है, थोड़ा
Yogi
बेटर
again
हो गया.
has to.
Yeah.
हाँ, because he
So,
came onto picture, na.
and there's also the issue of so BJP, the government is actually privatizing two distribution companies
Hmm.
of the six state-held companies, mind you. स्पेशली पूर्वांचल
Okay.
में और मध्यांचल में ये करने की बात हो रही है. पूर्वांचल के लिए तो बिड्स
Yeah.
भी उन्होंने आई थिंक इनवाइट किए थे. दे आल्सो हैव अ
Okay.
मेजर कंसल्टिंग फॉर द ट्रांजैक्शन पार्टनर एंड दैट सब चल रहा है.
हाँ.
एंड इट इज अ वेरी पॉलिटिकली प्रॉब्लमेटिक इशू फॉर देम बिकॉज जो लॉबी है इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीन पावर इंजीनियर्स वाली स्टेट के अंदर बहुत स्ट्रांग है. ह्यूज ब्यूरोक्रेसी
Oh.
ना, द पावर
Yeah, yeah,
सेक्टर,
yeah. In the power
सरकार में.
sector, yeah. Yeah.
सो
Because
पीपल
you
आर
have
एलिजिंग
because you have because
आर
you have this discoms,
गवर्नमेंट.
uh, because you have this discoms, then you have the regulatory body. Okay,
हाँ.
you have a separate sort of court like regulatory body. Okay.
हम्म.
uh, so lot of levels to it. And
या
to and I mean, I remember, like, I am from UP. There used to be a time when 12 hours, 14 hours, there used to be no electricity.
अभी ऑलमोस्ट वही वापस आ गया था.
वही वापस आ
गाजियाबाद,
गया था. Yeah.
है, सहारनपुर, पीपल वर
So,
लिटरली इन द ऑफिसेज अगेन धरने
yeah,
देने के लिए. इतना
yeah.
गुस्सा चढ़ा हुआ था लोगों को.
I
इट्स अ
think
प्रॉब्लम.
one
दैट इज
one
वेयर
major
दिस लॉबी हैज टू बी डिफीटेड फॉर देम.
right. I think one major another factor which is affecting BJP is the corruption at the lower level bureaucracy. In India and in Maharashtra it has increased considerably. Honestly speaking,
देखो,
especially
लो लेवल
especially in real
करप्शन.
estate sector.
इसी प्रॉब्लम इन इंडिया इज, एंड यूपी में भी तो वो भी है बहुत बड़े स्केल पर. वी आर नॉट एबल टू एड्रेस लो लेवल करप्शन इन इंडिया.
Yes, and yeah, upper level. I mean, people say it. I don't know how true it is, but I think there is a legitimate point here is that the upper level corruption has got institutionalized the way it
या
is the way it is in USA.
ये तो बहुत सुनने में आता है, बहुत सुनने में आता
हाँ,
है. सी,
हाँ.
ऐसा नहीं है कि साउथ में नहीं होगा. ठीक है, Let's be
Yeah,
clear about it. Every state has some significant level of corruption.
corruption.
Corrupt officials present everywhere. But I
But
think
lower level
it's also
corruption, sir,
about the
nahi
way
kya na?
politicians of different regions think about these things. I've always felt this as an example. You look at why southern states have more industrial base. Of course, geography की बात है, infrastructure की बात है, access to coastline की बात है, advanced industries की भी बात है. लेकिन why do textile mills, shoemakers, these kind of industries still stay in the south? समझ रहे हो?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because there is an understanding at some level, and I'm putting it very crudely and colloquially, पैसा खाने के लिए ना पैसा बनाना पड़ता है.
Hmm.
ठीक है?
Right.
That brain or that thinking you'll never see in the north. ये एक दुर्भाग्य है यहाँ की पॉलिटिक्स का.
Hmm. Very interesting point you made actually, because I mean, it is it brings
And
me
there were many big politicians across all states, western and southern India, who have direct business interests everywhere. You know the names.
yeah, true, that is true,
And
that
that
is
is
true.
what made them realize that it needs that business environment इतना भी खराब मत होने दो कि कुछ काम ही ना हो सके.
सही बात है, बट सर लेकिन वही है ना कि ये जो लोअर लेवल करप्शन का जो इतना क्रॉनिक इशू है, एंड पीपल एक्सपेक्टेड बीजेपी टू रिजॉल्व इट, इनफैक्ट बढ़ गया है ये काफ़ी, ऑनेस्टली स्पीकिंग, स्पेशली रियल एस्टेट सेक्टर में तो बहुत
See,
ज़्यादा है, मतलब आप
state का
उसकी कोई
problem
लिमिट
पता
ही
है
नहीं
क्या?
है, मतलब.
Real estate is a sector that will always be bereft with corruption in this country for the simple reason that there's a lot of political capital that is tied up in the real estate space in India.
Do you see any hope of getting it, I mean, it breaks in future, because it is
I
also,
have
because
only
it is
one
because it
answer
is
to what
also
you said.
affecting our urban centers now.
Agree, agree. देखो मेरे पास तो frankly कोई और आंसर तो है नहीं. I see only one answer to it, and that is unless you have massive industrialization in this country, ठीक है, these sources of political financing will continue to remain in extractive rent seeking in areas.
Hmm.
See, आप रियल एस्टेट यहाँ बोल रहे हो. Come to northwest India.
Hmm.
States are not necessarily in a great fiscal position. Punjab, Himachal, J&K, Uttarakhand. Okay, they're not
Rajasthan as
great.
well.
Rajasthan to some extent, to a large extent. You look at what the political class is deeply entrenched in there. Sand,
Hmm.
riverbed mining. ठीक है? Illegal riverbed mining,
Yeah,
illegal sand mining,
yeah,
और रियल एस्टेट, इलीगल मॉल्स बीइंग, मतलब मॉल्स बना रहे हैं, बेसिकली रियल एस्टेट में घुसे हुए हैं किसी ना किसी फॉर्म में,
yeah.
और दे आर इनटू मतलब एनीथिंग दैट बेसिकली ट्राइज टू एक्सट्रैक्ट वैल्यू ऑफ रिसोर्स इनडायरेक्टली. सो बिकॉज देयर इज नो इंडस्ट्रियल बेल्ट इन दीज स्टेट्स इफेक्टिवली. राजस्थान में भी पॉकेट्स में तो अब है, जैसे जो एनसीआर से लगते हैं, बट यू गो फॉर द वेस्ट और टुवर्ड्स पंजाब साइड कुछ भी नहीं है दैट, राइट. ये प्रॉब्लम रहेगी टिल यू आर नॉट एबल टू ब्रेक दिस साइकिल. आई थिंक द रियल एस्टेट सेक्टर विल कंटिन्यू टू सफर द पेन इट डज फॉर दिस वेरी रीजन. देखो वैल्यूएशन में कम नहीं होगा.
Hmm.
आई कॉल इट द टाइम वैल्यू डेप्रिसिएशन. सो इज नॉट द
Hmm.
राइट टर्म नेसेसरली, बट व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू कन्वे इज दैट ये आज जो 1 करोड़ का है वो 7 साल बाद भी 1 करोड़ ही रहे.
How that could be the thing. Yes.
एंड दैट इज हाउ द डेप्रिसिएशन विल, is how I.
Okay.
So, and this rent seeking model of political financing can only be broken if avenues are there for them to earn other than these.
Other than this particular, yeah, true that. True that I mean, the financial ties of political parties, of every political party, in fact, not
Exactly.
just BJP, of
Yeah,
every
yeah, yeah.
political party is tied up with the real estate sector, and a lot
Yeah.
of politicians in our country, they become real
There's
estate
a very famous
developers.
politician in Punjab जिसके नाम पे तो ये भी मजाक चलता था कि हर ढाबे के अंदर उसका स्टेक था, जैसे ही ढाबा चलने लगता था.
बाप रे.
And that is why that person has not been in power for more than 10 years now,
Damn.
and his party has been reduced to nothing effectively in the
Reduced
state.
to nothing
So
effectively.
anything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
point is, all these have only so much to offer at the end of the day.
Hmm.
You have to build capital to be able to, siphon some capital. There's a very good phrase I heard in MP once from a, देखो लोकल विजडम ना इस देश में बहुत बढ़िया है, वैसे लोगों को सब समझ आता है मुझे लगता है. It's just that they choose not to react to things or not to be passionate about things. क्योंकि
Yeah.
जिंदगी चलानी है, रोटी कमानी है,
रोटी कमानी है.
क्यों अपना दिमाग, अपना एनर्जी वेस्ट करें.
देखो मेरे
वन
वजह से
ऑटो
मेरे
रिक्शा
अकेले से
भैया
तो
जी,
होगा नहीं ना.
वन ऑटो रिक्शा अंकल जी in जबलपुर, वो टेम्पू वाला होता है ना, विक्रम वाला पुराना,
हाँ.
was taking me. It was the only ride I could get back then to get anywhere in जबलपुर.
Okay.
उसने बोला कि बेटा, आटे में नमक चलता है, नमक में आटा थोड़ी चलता है. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's that's what I'm saying. People in India are wise. गधे नहीं है भाई देश में. Just that they choose not to react to things. वो अपना इंटरेस्ट देख रहे हैं बस, सर्वाइवल का.
Survival.
एंड दैट इज समवेयर अ सैड स्टेट आल्सो, बिकॉज सिर्फ सर्वाइवल पे अटके रह गए हैं, वो भी बुरा है.
वही बोल रहे हैं हाँ बिकॉज अगेन यू शुड हैव अ बेटर जो अभी एस्पिरेशंस हो रहे हैं तो अभी आजकल काफी बात हो रही है यू नीड बेटर
हम्म.
सिटीज अरे लुक हाउ शिट इंडियन सिटीज लुक you know how
सैडली यस, सैडली यस.
yeah I mean it looks very bad our cities look really bad a
देखो,
lot of
अक्रॉस इंडिया फ्लाईओवर्स बने हैं और इतनी वाहियात हालत में है वो फ्लाईओवर सिटीज के अंदर.
yeah
Either you are making these very bad L turns that
ah
should have never been allowed,
very bad alternatives yeah
और you have flyovers जिनमें 3 साल में क्रैक्स भी आ गए हैं.
but the
ठीक
planning
है,
is faulty the planning is faulty
प्लानिंग फॉल्टी है, पैसा
so
खा
for
रहे हैं.
example let me tell you about my place okay it was developed as a planned city, okay, on the same level as Chandigarh. It is still very
हम्म.
much planned, okay, as compared to Bombay. It's much better, no doubt in that. Now, just one segment, I would just tell you. So you have a node. There's a circle. Earlier, it used to be a circle. Huge circle was there.
हम्म.
No traffic signals, okay, and after that, there used to be a bus station, okay. Now things changed. Population increased
Of course, of
and
course.
due to the youth circle you have this whole traffic snarl in the area okay now what did it do they came in reduced the circle okay सोचा कि चलो इसको reduce करके ट्रैफिक में थोड़ी सी इजाफा आ जाएगी चलो ठीक है अब हो गया आ गया इजाफा but population again increased okay
Of course.
automobiles are increased भाई your disposable incomes are rising तो
हम्म.
पॉपुलेशन भी तो बढ़ेगी फिर वो लोग गाड़ी भी खरीदेंगे आज एक फैमिली के
Exactly.
पास 2-3 गाड़ियां हैं ठीक है
देखो ये गाड़ी वाला प्रॉब्लम ना, आई ऑलवेज से दिस, कार्स, this will become a whole new discussion and debate point for a lot of people, but people buying cars is a failure of public transport in India.
हाँ दैट इज ट्रू दैट इज आई टोटली एग्री विथ यू नाउ
Especially in
ओके
cities like
नाउ
मुंबई एंड पूरा ग्रेटर मुंबई रीजन में कार चलाना इज अ पनिशमेंट, फिर भी लोग खरीद रहे हैं, क्यों? No,
बिकॉज
you get that
the public
right,
public
because
transportation
public
is shit
transport, Mumbai's public transport is in absolute shambles.
यस यस टोटली इन शैम्बल्स अभी तो मेट्रो बन
But
रहा है
that
अभी
used to be
मेट्रो
that used to be the epitome of, मतलब बेंचमार्क था पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट मुंबई का इंडिया का.
या नो दैट
आज उसकी हालत देखिए.
हाँ बिकॉज वही है ना बिकॉज with times they are not moving ahead they didn't move ahead now they are
Exactly.
realizing oh we have to do something.
You can't play catch up every time. I mean, that's the point.
Yes, that is true. Now again, coming back to my point in my area
Mhm.
about the
Yeah.
faulty planning,
Yeah. Yeah.
So you shorten the circle, okay?
Mhm.
Traffic improved considerably, but unfortunately, the disposable income rose. More
Yeah.
vehicles, again the traffic snarls. Now what do? You put a traffic signal.
Signal.
ठीक है अब क्या होता है अब ट्रैफिक सिग्नल लुक एट वेरी स्मॉल ट्रैफिक सिग्नल इधर है ट्रैफिक निकलता है आगे बस स्टेशन है
Yeah.
बिग एस buses coming stopping there
Mhm.
another
One lane
traffic
gets
snarl
blocked.
and this is the story of every node in Navi Mumbai ये
There is
ट्रैफिक
this
सिग्नल है,
very famous
ये ट्रैफिक
stand-up
सिग्नल है,
comedy of Delhi
ये
NCR.
सुनो,
Just
ये ट्रैफिक सिग्नल है, और यहाँ पे बस स्टॉप है, यहाँ पे ब्रिज खत्म होता है, और यहाँ पे बस
yeah.
स्टॉप है, यहाँ पे ब्रिज
अरे
खत्म होता है, यहाँ पे सिग्नल है। अरे
boss, there's a stand-up comic at Delhi NCR में who
हम्म,
made a joke on literally the same lines about Dwarka sub-city. कि
अच्छा,
देवर कुछ सरकार के पास कोई 2-2.5 लाख लाल बत्ती फ्री पड़ी थी, उन्होंने सारी लगा दी उस एरिया में. Barely half a kilometer and you end up with a signal. It's that kind of a
yeah,
place.
what are you
What is
doing?
going on? Because that
You're
tells you how
catching up.
badly planning has happened when it comes to traffic.
Seriously, my father gets frustrated, you know, अरे यार ये क्या करते हैं, ये हमेशा ये लोग ब्रिज के खत्म होने के बाद सिग्नल कैसे लगा देते हैं, पूरे ब्रिज पर ट्रैफिक
तो
जाम हो जाता है, ये
भाई
दिमाग नहीं।
फ्लाईओवर पे ट्रैफिक सिग्नल्स होते हैं हमारे देश में.
बताओ
What
यार,
else can
मतलब हाँ,
you do?
yeah, this used to be situation in the new bridge which was made in Mankod area, you know.
Yeah.
By God, it's, I don't know. I mean, these are, see, my point is, I mean, I know this needs a separate episode, and we can do it,
Agree.
you know, next time. But these kind of issues, how you want to solve it?
See,
आपको
and this
पूरा
is where
शहर
the
खोदना
political
पड़ेगा।
this is where the political class, and I go back to something I said earlier in this discussion. Till urban areas don't become the real vote catchments,
Hmm.
real meaningful vote catchments by
Yeah,
number of seats, I mean, for
yeah.
our political class, they will never have a vested interest to solve these problems.
True that. I absolutely agree with this
See,
point, and
example, I'll just give you a very small example. Tejasvi Surya ji is MP from Bengaluru South,
yeah,
extremely urbanized.
yeah,
ठीक है?
yeah.
You look at the things he talks about urbanization.
Hmm.
He's
Yes,
doing
I
it
have.
because he also has to cultivate his constituency. Na?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. Till your stake doesn't get anchored in an urban area, big urban area, you will not have any reason to do anything.
Do something. Hmm. Do something.
North
Yeah.
India may you will never see this
अरे सर
until you
वो
don't
तो,
do this gerrymandering in a way.
अरे सर बहुत रूरल कोडेड है सर, पूरा नॉर्थ ही पूरा रूरल कोडेड है,
See,
अनफॉर्चुनेटली।
Delhi continues to get bigger and bigger as a city, while other major cities of North India have been declining for the last 3 decades. Delhi NCR लगा दो, चलो NCR भी ऐड कर लो.
या
Delhi NCR is literally one Germany in population for all practical
या
purposes.
या या
Go beyond this, and there's nothing. And that entire NCR is anchored on one city of Delhi
Yes.
at the end of the day.
At the end of
This is not how
so
things can work. कहने का मतलब ये है.
right. Interesting, but you know, we'll circle back on this on urban issues, because you know you already have an expertise in that regard, you know, urban and environment and all. And I really want to. We should have a separate episode, you know, in a
Of course.
bi-weekly one. So, guys, you
We'll
know
do.
what we are doing. We are going to meet me with Rohit sir. We are going to do bi-weekly episodes, you know, on different topics. We'll take up weekly issues which are happening in our nation, and of course from the geopolitical perspective as well. And sometimes we will also add tadka of history
Of
as well.
course. Of
So
course.
because we both love history, we
Yeah.
you know, and especially sir has lot of knowledge to share with you all. So do subscribe to our channel, uh, and we do hope to bring in guests as well in future, but of course it will depend upon your support, and your subscription, your likes to our videos. And of course, if you have any opinion, do chime in on our comments section, you know. Do come in and give us your views, but please be respectful and be mindful of your language. That we would really appreciate. uh, so thanks again, sir. Let's circle back next Sunday with
Of
another
course.
topic, with another great discussion.
Definitely.
Really
Definitely.
enjoyed today with yours. Lot of
Pleasure's
lot of
all
learning.
mine with you. Pleasure's all mine with you. And thank you for this. I
Thank
think
you.
it's interesting. Let's have these conversations. I like this.
Yes, surely, sir, surely. It's just a start. Just a start.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.